Chapter 958. Who told you that? Yao Wang subconsciously circulated his pure energy to check. However, he didn't notice anything strange after circulating his pure energy. However, the more he felt, the more worried Yao Wang became, because Li Delay's energy was suppressed by Lin Yi's silver needles. He couldn't feel anything if he didn't remove the needles. It's nothing. Aren't you the miracle doctor, Zhao Yaowang? A mocking smile appeared on Lin Yi's lips. It's spreading like wildfire on the internet right now, so I believe that you'll be able to deal with it. Is it the same as Li Delay's pure energy needles? Yao Wang asked in shock. Oh, more or less, but I modified it a little. It's not the same as last time. Lin Yi said, didn't you notice that the needles were inserted into your meridians? Yao Wang's expression became even more shocked. What will happen? It's nothing. I've compressed my pure energy and sealed it in your meridians. You'll be fine as long as you don't pull it out. Lin Yi smiled. Of course, you can pull it out too. So what? Yao Wang's face darkened. Isn't your strength gone? How can you still have pure energy? Why are you as dumb as that idiot Zhao Qibing? You're on his side after all, taking things for granted. Lin Yi curled his lips. May I ask, who told you that my strength is gone? Yao Wang thought. Who told me? Didn't I guess it myself? If you pull out the silver needles, then my true qi will explode in your body with a bang. Lin Yi said exaggeratedly. After that, your meridians will be destroyed and your strength will be greatly reduced. After you pull out all the needles, your meridians will be destroyed, and congratulations, you can practice physical arts from now on. Lin Yi said exaggeratedly. After that, your meridians will be destroyed. This was a bad idea that Lin Yi came up with after his meridians were damaged. He used it on Yao Wang. However, to deal with a person like the Medicine King, it was impossible not to hurt him a little. Impossible. The Medicine King's face suddenly became sinister. You're lying. You don't even have your strength. You're just using a few silver needles to pretend. You don't have any innate qi. I can't feel any innate qi fluctuations in your body. Heh, my strength is higher than yours. Of course you can't feel it. Lin Yi thought to himself, you're not me. A normal inner force expert can only see the opponent's strength when they circulate their true qi. Even if the opponent's strength is much higher than the opponent's, they can still see the opponent's strength at a glance. Otherwise, unless you have a golden finger like Lin Yi, you can see the opponent's strength. Bullshit. You don't have any strength left. The Medicine King was the one who was most certain that Lin Yi had lost his strength, so he did not believe that Lin Yi still had any strength left. If you don't believe me, then forget it. You can pull out a silver needle and try. Lin Yi said indifferently. So be it. You think I don't dare? The Medicine King said as he stretched out his hand to pull out the silver needle in his chest, but when his hand touched the needle, he paused for a moment and moved his hand to his left leg to pull out the needle. Lin Yi secretly laughed, but did not say anything. Even though the Medicine King shouted that he was not afraid, he still did not dare to pull out the silver needle in his chest. One must know that near the chest was the main meridian. If it was destroyed, then his strength would directly drop from Mystic class to Golden class. The left leg was not important. The innate qi stored there was very little. After the meridian was destroyed, at most the left leg would not be able to use innate qi, but for an expert like the Medicine King who was not good at fighting, it was not important. The Medicine King directly pulled out the silver needle in his leg, and the result was immediately dumbfounded. With a loud sound, he felt as if his left leg was about to explode. The meridian in it was instantly destroyed by Lin Yi's huge innate qi. The Medicine King screamed and staggered, almost falling to the ground. The Medicine King's face changed from pain to fear. He looked at Lin Yi, beads of sweat dripping down his face. Impossible. This is impossible. Why didn't you lose your strength? Medicine King cried in his heart. What was wrong with Lin Yi? Was he pretending to be weak? He didn't lose his strength. Why didn't he show in the parking lot? He made him think that Lin Yi had lost his strength. At this moment, Qibing and Sihua were dumbfounded as well. What? Lin Yi didn't lose his strength? In other words, Lin Yi was still as strong as before? Fuck! Zhao Qibing remembered the words he said to Lin Yi before, and he wanted to slap himself a few times. His mouth was too dirty, his mouth was too dirty. With Lin Yi's temper, he was done for. I'm still confused. Who told you that I don't have any strength? Who told you that? Or are you imagining it? Lin Yi looked at Medicine King mockingly. Medicine King's face darkened. I'm not imagining it, am I? He couldn't help but ask bitterly. You have the strength. Why didn't you use your chi in the parking lot? Why would I use my chi against a few thieves? Lin Yi shook his head. Plus, it's mine. I can use it if I want. I can't use it if I don't want to. Why do you care so much? Medicine King was speechless. Lin Yi was right. The chi was his. He didn't care if he wanted to use it or not. But he still asked. Before that, I went to Pengzhan Industries to find trouble with Pengzhan. Chairman Chu, why didn't you stop me? Oh, fine. I just pretended that I didn't have any strength. I wanted to see who was trying to harm me. And then I'll step on them. Lin Yi shrugged, admitting it. Fuck. Medicine King couldn't help but curse. Had he been played? Had he become someone who was trying to harm him? And so Lin Yi stepped on him? He only had himself to blame. Who else could he blame? Medicine King felt a wave of sadness in his heart. Then my needles. What should I do? Medicine King smiled bitterly. Aren't you very strong yourself? You can try refining my chi, or wait for my meridians to break. Then you can repair them. Lin Yi said, Right, I forgot to tell you, I can repair meridians. If your meridians are broken, you can ask me to repair them. You can repair meridians? Medicine King looked at Lin Yi in shock. Chapter 959. You got lucky. No wonder, no wonder. The Medicine King looked up to the sky and let out a long sigh. If not for the silver needles on his chest and body, he would have pounded his chest and stamped his feet. But he still said sadly, No wonder my prediction failed. Ma Zhu was in such a miserable state. How could you be fine? So you can heal yourself. It's not too late to understand now, Lin Yi said. But can you help me repair my meridians? Medicine King looked at Lin Yi with a face full of hope. Sure. Lin Yi nodded. The Medicine King stared blankly for a moment and almost cried out in front of Lin Yi. Could Lin Yi really help him repair his meridians? But my fees are definitely more expensive than a quack like you. Lin Yi said, 1 billion for 1 meridian. There are 7 meridians and 8 meridians in a martial artist's body. There are a total of 15 main meridians. You can give me 15 billion. I'll give you the other auxiliary meridians. The Medicine King rolled his eyes and almost fainted from anger. 1 billion meridians? Why didn't he just rob someone? Don't think it's expensive. Do you know how many heavenly materials and earthly treasures I have to spend to repair one of your meridians? Maybe my master will have to come personally. My master will have to pay for the journey, right? Lin Yi started to spout nonsense. The Medicine King remained silent, despair written all over his face. Lin Yi shrugged and ignored Yao Wang. He turned to Zhao Qibing. Zhao Qibing, it seems like you haven't given up yet. The building has collapsed twice. Don't you know that there are some people you can't afford to offend? It'll be troublesome if you do. I'm Lin Yi Boss High. I was tricked by House Yu and Xiao family. That's why I did something like this. In fact, I'm scared of you. The expression on Qibing's face was very interesting. In order to save his life, he had no choice but to endure the humiliation. Zhao Qibing knew very well that Lin Yi could do anything, so he pushed all the blame on a House Yu and Xiao family. He didn't believe that Lin Yi would dare to do anything to House Yu and Xiao family. After all, Lin Yi might not know the power of the hidden aristocratic families, but he definitely knew that the aristocratic families of the common world were not to be trifled with. Besides, House Yu had the support of the hidden house, and although the Xiao family was down and out, Zhao Qibing didn't believe that Lin Yi would dare to touch them. After all, if Lin Yi were to touch the Xiao family, the other aristocratic families would definitely sympathize with him. Perhaps they would be the next ones to be affected, and they wouldn't sit idly by. You Bide is dead, and so is Uncle Pai, Lin Yi said faintly. Huh? Zhao Qibing heard Lin Yi's words and almost fell on his butt. What's going on? Lin even dared to kill someone from House Yu. From Zhao Qibing's perspective, no matter how arrogant Lin Yi was, he would only touch the Xiao family, not House Yu. He didn't think that Lin Yi would even dare to kill someone from House Yu. Wasn't he being too ruthless? This guy didn't play his cards according to common sense at all. Moreover, he was completely unscrupulous in his actions. Wasn't he afraid that others would take revenge on him? That's right, this time, he pretended that he had lost a lot of his strength and attracted some people to take revenge on him. In the end, the people who took revenge were taking revenge on him. No one from your family has died yet, so I'm here. Lin Yi looked at Zhao Qibing and said with a smile that wasn't a smile, Boss Lin Yi, there must be some misunderstanding between us. Zhao Qibing was so scared that his legs couldn't move, and his whole body was trembling. The smile on his face was ugly. Look, if I wasn't bewitched, I wouldn't dare to cause trouble for you. Please don't be impulsive. Don't be afraid before I kill someone. I usually give them a chance to choose. Lin Yi waved his hand and interrupted Zhao Qibing. I gave House Yu and Xiao family 2 conditions, but they didn't agree. So there's nothing I can do. I agree. Zhao Qibing nodded. Your condition, I want double, Lin Yi said faintly. My condition? Zhao Qibing's face changed, and he smiled bitterly. I want Pengzhan Industries real estate company, but I don't have 2 real estate companies. If I did, I wouldn't need to ask for someone else's. Then you can only die. Lin Yi said, but you're different from House Yu and Xiao family. You're saying that you want Yao Wang to poison us. No. Why would I dare to poison you? Zhao Qibing quickly denied. Lin Yi, I was the one who gave the order. Master Bing didn't mean to poison you. I was just afraid that Pengzhan wouldn't listen to me. That's why I said that. Sihua gritted his teeth and stepped forward, deciding to take the blame for Zhao Qibing. Zhao Qibing didn't show up at the time. He just needed to take all the responsibility, and perhaps he would be able to shift Lin Yi's anger onto himself. Oh, it's you? You're the one who wanted to poison Uncle Chu's family? Lin Yi looked at Sihua and asked. That's me. Sihua nodded. Oh, then I'll kill your family too, of course. That includes Zhao Qibing. Lin Yi said nonchalantly. Wah! Sihua paused. But this has nothing to do with Master Bing. Oh, when you wanted to kill Uncle Chu's family, you didn't think it had anything to do with Yao Yao, so I don't think it has anything to do with Zhao Qibing either, Lin Yi said. Sihua was speechless. Did he stand up and take the blame for nothing? Boss Lin Yi, I don't have a real estate company, but can I use my money to pay off my debt? Zhao Qibing was scared when he heard that Lin Yi had killed Ubaid and Uncle Pai. He believed that Lin Yi would kill him for sure. Oh, that's fine. Lin Yi smiled. Forget it. I'll give you a discount. 200 million is fine. 200 million. Zhao Qibing's face turned bitter again. I only have 150 million. This 150 million was taken from Zhang Yingjun and Zhang Wen. It had only been a few days, and now it was going to be gone? 50 million. Huh? That's fine. You break your own leg and I'll give you 50 million, Lin Yi said. That. Qibing hesitated. Although his leg was just healed, it would be too painful to break it again. But when he thought about it, he would be able to save 50 million and keep his life. It was a good deal. He was just sitting in a wheelchair for a while. It didn't matter. He gritted his teeth. Fine. Sure. Sihua, get a metal rod for Boss Lin Yi and break my leg. That? Okay. Someone wanted to say something, but thinking about Lin Yi's personality, he shook his head and went out to get the metal rod. Chapter 960. Chapter 958. Swearing to the wheelchair, a trace of humiliation flashed across Qibing's eyes as he gritted his teeth. Sihua, do it. With that, he pulled up his shirt and bit it into his mouth before sitting on the wheelchair behind him. But Sihua didn't dare to do it. Hurry up. My time is limited. If you don't do it now, I'll get a comminuted fracture, Lin Yi said impatiently. Sihua, do it. This is an order. Qibing shuddered as he gave the order. Sihua had no choice but to grit his teeth and smash the metal rod down on Qibing's left leg. With a crack, Qibing screamed in pain. His left leg was broken. Sihua raised the metal rod again and smashed it down on Qibing's right leg. With another crack, Qibing's right leg was broken as well. Qibing was in so much pain that he wanted to roll on the floor. Remember to transfer the money. Right, breaking one leg is enough. Why did you break two? Lin Yi shrugged and left the floating cloud bar. That, Sihua froze. He hated Lin Yi to the core. Why didn't he say so earlier? He didn't break both of Qibing's legs at the same time, but he did it separately. Why did he have to wait until after he was done? Wasn't he doing it on purpose? If Master Bing were to blame him, Lin Yi, Zhao Qibing, swear to the wheelchair that if I don't kill you, my surname isn't Zhao. Qibing endured the pain and waited for Lin Yi to leave before saying viciously, remember this, I, Zhao Qibing, am a man of my words. Master Bing, I'm sorry. Sihua quickly apologized for breaking both of Qibing's legs. It's none of your business. Qibing waved his hand and rolled his eyes before fainting. Lin Yi didn't return to Minyao's villa after leaving the floating cloud bar. Instead, he called Tang Yan. He had to explain to Tang Yan. Perhaps today's result would disappoint her, but Lin Yi had no other choice. At the same time, he didn't want Miss and Shu to leave. Although he didn't spend a lot of time with them, after spending every day with them, Lin Yi had really fallen in love with them. Hello, Lin Yi, are you on the train? Tang Yan knew that Lin Yi probably left last night, but she was afraid that if she went to send him off, someone would see her. It was better to let Lin Yi leave secretly and not be seen by his enemies. No, I'm in Songshan, Lin Yi said. You didn't leave? Tang Yan paused. What's wrong? What happened? Where are you? Let's talk when we meet. Lin Yi sighed slightly and said, I'm at school. It's lunch break right now, Tang Yan said. Then I'll go to school now. Lin Yi turned the car around and drove towards the school. Pin Liang and Xiaofu just came out of a restaurant in front of the school. The school had covered up Pin Liang's crimes, but even so, Pin Liang and Xiaofu didn't dare go to the cafeteria. The cafeteria's chef knew the inside story, and it'd be bad if they said something wrong. So they went to a nearby restaurant for lunch every day. With Pin Liang's family background, they could afford it. Liang bro, isn't that Lin Yi? Xiaofu suddenly pointed not far away. Lin Yi. Pin Liang paused and looked in the direction Xiaofu was pointing at. Lin Yi was getting out a yellow beetle as expected. Why is he still here? House you, Xiao family. And Zhao Qibing's people still haven't killed him? Xiaofu asked curiously. Yeah, why is he here at this time? He's not hiding. Why is he here in public? Pin Liang frowned. Liang bro, let's go look for trouble with him? Xiaofu suggested excitedly. Look for what? Are you stupid? Lin Yi still dares to come to school at this time? There must be something wrong. Pin Liang was no longer the reckless and brainless Pin Liang he used to be. He had experienced great joy and sorrow and had evolved into a highly intelligent Pin Liang. Wait, I'll ask my dad. Okay. Xiaofu nodded and shrunk his head. Pin Liang called Fabai, and Fabai picked up the phone. Hello? Pin Liang, what's up? Dad, I want to ask you something. Did Xiao family, House you, and Master Bing go looking for trouble with Chu Pingzhan? Pin Liang asked. I saw Lin Yi at school. Pin Liang, don't mess with Lin Yi. Do you hear me? You can't. Fabai was shocked by his son's words and hurriedly said to his son, What's wrong? Pin Liang paused. You don't know? House Yu and Xiao family were all killed by Lin Yi. And just now, Lin Yi came back from Master Bing's place. Not only did he injure Yao Wang, but he also broke Master Bing's legs. He even asked Master Bing for 150 million. Fabai said quickly, Oh my god, really? Pin Yang was shocked. Lin Yi even dared to kill Xiao family and House Yu? Don't talk about Xiao family and House Yu. Even Master Bing didn't do anything. He still has to compensate Lin Yi? Fabai smiled bitterly. This Lin Yi pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger. His strength hasn't disappeared at all, but today he showed his power. This Lin Yi is so evil. Pin Liang couldn't help but sigh. It seemed like he was really smart to not mess with Lin Yi. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. Yeah, let's talk later. I'm busy, Fabai said. Just remember not to mess with Lin Yi. Got it. Pin Liang nodded and hung up. He told his father's words to Xiaofu. See? I told you not to mess with Lin Yi. Now you know how smart I am? Yeah, Liang bro, you're really smart. Xiaofu heard Pin Liang's words and couldn't help but feel scared. He wanted to mess with Lin Yi before, but now it seemed like it was the right decision. Liang bro, Your IQ is really skyrocketing. You're no longer the Zhong Pinliang from before. That's right. Let me tell you, you need to have IQ to be a bad guy. Pinliang nodded proudly. Lin, he has IQ, but his IQ can only fool Xiao family, House Yu, and Master Bing. Compared to me, he's still a level lower. Chapter 961. Not really. That's right. We'll go visit Naipeo this weekend. Pinliang nodded. Yeah, I miss Naipeo too. It's been so long, I miss the days when the three of us were together. Xiaofu sighed. Lin, he wasn't here back then, and we were still doing whatever we wanted in school. It was such a good time. Oof. If Linny hadn't come, we'd still be a bunch of rich kids who didn't know anything. What future would we have then? Pinliang said disdainfully. It was Lin Yi who changed me. It was through constant battles with Lin Yi that I was able to strengthen myself and defeat Lin Yi. That's the only way we can achieve greatness and stand at the top of the world. Liang bro, you're so thoughtful. You'll definitely become a famous person in the future. Xiaofu said. It's too early to talk about that. Let's go back to the classroom and pretend we didn't see Lin Yi. Pinliang waved his hand humbly. Lin Yi parked the car at the food street behind the school and quickly walked into the school, dialing Tang Yun's number as he walked. Yin Yin, where are you? Lin Yi asked after the call connected. I'm reading in the classroom. I don't have much time left in school. I'll miss it. Tang Yun smiled. Are you at school? I'll go look for you. Yeah, I'll wait for you at the building. Lin Yi sighed inwardly. Would Tang Yun be unhappy when she found out the truth? It was the first time Lin Yi cared about a girl's thought. It made the usually calm Lin Yi a little depressed. The school was the same as usual. It was lunch break, and many students were playing around in the field. Zhou Ruoming was still playing basketball with his lackeys not far away, and Pinliang was still hanging out with Xiaofu. It was a group of familiar faces and some unfamiliar faces. Lin Yi leaned against the flower bed in front of the school building, waiting for Tang Yun. Not long after, Tang Yun's silhouette appeared in front of the school building. As usual, Tang Yun was still wearing her school uniform. Although it wasn't that Tang Yun couldn't afford clothes, she was always like this. Lin Yi liked this Tang Yun. She didn't change even though he gave her family a lot of money. When Tang Yun saw Lin Yi, the corner of her mouth turned into a beautiful smile. She quickly ran over, her chest slightly trembling, which surprised Lin Yi. He hadn't seen Tang Yun for a while, but her chest seemed to have grown bigger. Did she go through puberty again? Lin Yi wanted to ask, but he was too embarrassed to do so. In fact, Lin Yi was right. Tang Yun's breasts had started to grow. Tang Yun didn't say anything when Meng Yao used Yushu as a joke, but she was cheering in her heart. She added papaya milk to every meal, and she didn't think that it would have some effect unknowingly. This made Tang Yun very happy. Although she was going back to his hometown with Lin Yi soon, and she didn't know if she could see Meng Yao and Yushu again in this life, Tang Yun still wanted to perfect herself. You really haven't left yet. Tang Yun saw Lin Yi. Although she was surprised, her eyes were still filled with worry. Yeah, I haven't left yet. Lin Yi held Tang Yun's hand out of habit. Let's walk and talk. Okay. Tang Yun blushed, but she didn't reject. She had already decided to be with Lin Yi. She was also used to being intimate with Lin Yi occasionally, even in public. Tang Yun was a person who cared about her reputation. She didn't have any scandals before, but now that the whole school knew that she was Lin Yi's woman, Tang Yun was very calm. She had accepted everything in her heart. Lin Yi held Tang Yun's hand as they walked slowly under the shade of a tree. However, Lin Yi didn't say anything. It wasn't that he didn't want to say it, but he was thinking about how to start. Lin Yi understood Tang Yun's personality very well. Although she was strong sometimes, she was actually very fragile when it came to relationships. Especially with Xiaofan's example, Tang Yun protected herself like a hedgehog. She would turn into a monster at the slightest sign of trouble. This was also why Tang Yun was so guarded against Lin Yi before. But when she truly opened her heart and accepted Lin Yi, she became very careful, as if she was walking on thin ice, afraid that she would lose this relationship. Tang Yun, Lin Yi finally spoke. HM? Tang Yun turned to look at Lin Yi. I won't go back to my hometown. I will stay in Song's Han. Lin Yi clearly felt Tang Yun's grip on his hand tighten. Lin Yi sighed. Because my strength has recovered, and it has improved. Tang Yun pursed her lips as a trace of disappointment flashed through her eyes. But she smiled. That's a good thing. Congratulations. How could Lin Yi not feel the slight change in Tang Yun's emotions? He smiled bitterly. Are you a little disappointed? Why would I be? Tang Yun shook her head. I'm really happy that your strength has recovered. Tang Yun was speaking the truth. Although her dream of living a happy and secluded life with Lin Yi was shattered, Tang Yun was really happy for Lin Yi's recovery, because she knew that Lin Yi cared a lot about these things. If he couldn't recover, he would definitely be unhappy. So, Tang Yun would rather be disappointed than let Lin Yi be unhappy. Thank you. Lin Yi squeezed Tang Yun's hand. Then, will you still stay at Chu Mingyao's place? Tang Yun hesitated and couldn't help but ask. Yes, I promised them that if I recover my strength, I will continue to stay at the villa. Lin Yi didn't hide it from Tang Yun. That's not bad, Tang Yun said insincerely. Anyone could see that she was disappointed. Tang Yun, are you unhappy? Lin Yi also saw that Tang Yun didn't mean what she said. No. Tang Yun shook her head and took out a small box from her pocket and gave it to Lin. I don't need this anymore. I'll give it back to you. Tang Yun took out the ring that Lin Yi gave her. Lin Yi was stunned. Why are you giving it back to me? I bought it for you in the first place. Maybe this ring won't be mine in the end? Tang Yun wasn't confident. Chu Mingyao and Yushu's thoughts were clear to everyone. They still left Lin Yi in the villa. Did they want Lin Yi to be their bodyguard for the rest of his life? Chapter 962. Everyone's worries. Don't think too much. Lin Yi took the box and took out the ring, putting it on Tang Yun's finger. What's yours will always be yours. Tang Yun was pleasantly surprised. At this moment, she forgot all her worries and happiness. Tang Yun would remember this moment for the rest of her life. Under the shade of the tree, he put the ring on her finger again, expressing his love for her. House Chu's problem seems to have been solved, but nothing has been solved yet. I'd be worried if you leave now. Yao Yao and Shu aren't hostile towards you. That's just how they are, just like how they treated me in the beginning. They'll get along well with you once you get to know them more. Lin Yi comforted. You'll get along well with them. Lin Yi comforted. Oh. Tang Yun paused. She didn't understand what Lin Yi was hinting at. Was he implying that he wouldn't give up on her even if he chose Miss? That he wanted her to get along well with them? Would she? She didn't know. If Lin Yi really chose Miss, perhaps she would. Perhaps not. But what if she didn't? Would she give Lin Yi to Miss? No. Wouldn't that be what Miss wanted? Lin Yi didn't mean it, but it made Tang Yun's thoughts drift far, far away. Lin Yi was actually saying that the Miss would treat a person with kindness and care once she accepted him. I'll bring you back to see my old man during the summer after the college entrance exams. Lin Yi smiled. And Tang Yun was happy again, no matter what, as long as she was in Lin Yi's heart. Why should she care about Miss? If Lin Yi didn't like her, what was the point of keeping Lin Yi around? Tang Yun asked shyly, then, what should I call him? Grandpa then. That should be how old he is, but I always call him old man. Lin Yi said with a smile. He knew that Tang Yun couldn't just call him old man like that. It wouldn't be very polite. Yes. Tang Yun nodded. It's a good thing I didn't tell my family about this. I don't know what my mom would do otherwise. Tang Yun couldn't do anything about her mother. Lin Yi smiled. Lin Yi couldn't do anything about Mrs. Tang, but when he was pursuing Tang Yun, Mrs. Tang always stood by his side. Lin Yi was very grateful, so he didn't say anything about Mrs. Tang's greedy request. The Chu clan's troubles were over, but some people's troubles weren't over yet. Everyone who was hostile to the Chu family and Lin Yi began to panic. The Xiao family. Xiao Ji and Xiao Ben looked at Uncle Pai on the sickbed, not knowing what to say. Although Uncle Pai's life was saved after a complicated procedure, he was now in a vegetative state. You wastrel. Xiao Ji looked at Uncle Pai, who was lying motionless on the bed with tubes all over his body. He slapped Go Huli's face angrily. You didn't watch your driving properly. Now that Uncle Pai is in a vegetative state, What will our Shao family do? What will we do? Our position among the noble houses was already in danger, and now that there's no master here, the Shao family is finished. Wah! Go Huli didn't dare say anything else, only wiping her tears. Cry. You only know how to cry. What's the use of crying? Shao Ji was angry when he saw his wife. Why did he marry such a thing? The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. You're still crying? Isn't this all your fault? If you didn't mess with Pingzhan's people, we wouldn't be enemies with them. If we didn't make enemies, how will we get Uncle Pai involved? Even if Uncle Pai is injured, you should at least watch your driving. All right, bro. Xiao Ben waved his hand. Now's not the time to argue. What's the use even if you beat sister-in-law to death? What's the point? Then, what should we do? Xiao Ji sighed. He didn't know what to do. That's why he vented his anger on Go Huli. First, in order to protect our Shao family's interests, I suggest we marry House Kong as soon as possible. Otherwise, the Shao family's position will be at stake. However, with the support of a large financial group like the Kong family, it is still beneficial to our Shao family. At least we'll be able to get through this. Xiao Ji said. Second, we can try contacting Uncle Pai's school. He's been beaten up like this. Don't you think his school can just ignore it? HM, we need to hurry up with the marriage with House Kong. Xiao Ji nodded. But Uncle Pai's school, we don't know where he came from. Plus, wasn't Uncle Pai hit by Go Huli? If you don't say, and I don't say, we'll just say it was Lin Yi. Who would know? Xiao Ben waved his hand. Even if they know it was sister-in-law, that's secondary. How could a mystic mid-phase physical practitioner be killed by a car? That's not realistic, right? That's true. But Father didn't tell us where Uncle Pai came from, and he went. Xiao Ji nodded. And we didn't have time to ask Uncle Pai, did we? That's true. Xiao Ben frowned. How about this? Spread the news that Uncle Pai was beaten into a vegetative state by Lin. Bro, but if we do that, will House Kong stop marrying us after hearing the news? Xiao Ji said worriedly. Do you think this news can be kept a secret? But Xiao Ben waved his hand and said, I reckon that before long, all the well-informed people will all know that something happened to our Shao family. That's right. There's no way we can keep this a secret. Xiao Ji nodded. He went to contact House Kong and spread the news of Uncle Pai's vegetative state. Yin Jing, House Yu. Shueixing looked at the corpse of his third brother, Yu Bide, in the middle of the living room. Tears streamed down his face. Bro, why did you leave just like that? Big brother isn't home, and we're the only ones left in House Yu. Why did you leave me behind? Haitian stood at the side, not daring to say anything. House Yu had dominated the common world for so many years, and this kind of tragedy had never happened before. Everyone in House Yu didn't know what to do. Yu Kuan sat in his wheelchair, staring at his father's corpse. He couldn't accept this reality. He hadn't even recovered from his injuries, and his father had died. How could Lin Yi be so cruel? Chapter 963. Even more ruthless than you, impulsive. Shueixing waved his hand, his face dark. You're still going after Lin Yi in this situation? Aren't you stupid? Then, are we just going to let it go? Yufeng paused. Little brother, I know you want to avenge me and my father, but second uncle is right. We can't be impulsive at a time like this. Yu Kuan was eager for revenge as well, but he understood that this wasn't the time to be impulsive. Feng, you're still young and impulsive. Shueixing nodded. Right now, Lin Yi is obviously pretending to be weak. His strength hasn't disappeared at all, and he's even improved. Not only that, the dog beside him has also become a practitioner dog. Just how great of a background did he have to be in order to be able to do this? That dog, Yu Kuan, had already beaten it to the brink of death. Just how many treasures would it take to heal it? Not to mention the other noble houses. Even our house, you might not be able to take out so many treasures, let alone using them on a dog. Plus, to train a dog into a practitioner dog, it's already hard enough for a person to train, and now they've gotten a practitioner dog. Is it because they don't have anywhere else to use the treasures, or is it because there are too many masters out there, and they're just looking for fun? Yufeng listened to his father's words and lowered his head. His father was right. From these little clues, one could see how powerful Lin Yi's background was. How could he act rashly? Then what do we do now? Just endure it? Yufeng asked, a little discouraged. All we can do now is endure. You have to remember, those who want to achieve great things have to learn how to endure. Yu Wang Go Jian. Isn't that the epitome of enduring? Shueixing said, I'll contact your uncle about this and see if he has any suggestions. As long as the hidden house you stands up for us, we don't have to be afraid of anything. But I'm afraid that the people over there won't make a move easily. Then we'll just have to endure it for now. Yufeng nodded. The news that Lin Yi didn't lose his strength spread like wildfire. Zhen Dazhou and Zhen Yingjun were the first to know about it. When the father and son heard that Lin Yi didn't lose his strength, they were scared. They were afraid that Lin Yi would come to them. Godfather Ma, when will your master come out of seclusion? Lin Yi has not lost his strength. I heard that he is now seeking revenge from his enemies. Zhen Dazhou turned pale and said to Ma Zhu, people from House Yu and Xiao family are dead. Yao Wang and Zhao Qibing are injured to varying degrees. What should we do? Is Lin Yi's next target us? What? Lin Yi has regained his strength. Ma Zhu heard the news and felt that it was unbelievable, followed by a wave of sadness. If Lin Yi was crippled, he would feel better. But now, Lin Yi was fine, but he was crippled. How can Ma Zhu feel good about this? Yeah, I'm afraid that Lin Yi will come to us for revenge, Zhen Dazhou said worriedly. He regretted provoking Lin Yi. Not only was his son's bloodline gone, but Ma Zhu was also heavily injured. If he dares, he'll die when my master comes. Ma Zhu laughed coldly. From his point of view, although Lin Yi wasn't simple, he was nothing in front of his master. When will Godfather Ma's master come? Can he hurry? I'm afraid that Lin Yi will come before he comes, Zhen Dazhou said worriedly. My master is an Earth-class master, but according to the rules of the Hidden House Arbitration Association, Earth-class masters can't appear in the common world unless there's a reason. He already applied to the Arbitration Association. Ma Zhu frowned and said. Ma Zhu knew his own situation. He knew that the rules of the hidden aristocratic families only applied to those hidden aristocratic families. To those big sects, it was useless. In front of those super ancient sects, these hidden aristocratic families were just a piece of cake. The hidden houses couldn't do anything about it. They didn't even have the right to know about the ancient sects. But Ma Zhu's sect was very small. It was just a newly established sect. This kind of small sect would naturally be restricted by the Hidden House Arbitration Association. I see. Zhen Dazhou nodded. Then what do we do now? My master said to wait for a while. When he comes, it'll be easy, Ma Zhu said. As soon as Ma Zhu finished his sentence, there was a knock on the door. Who? Zhen Dazhou asked subconsciously. Lin Yi said faintly. Lin Yi already knew from Zhao Qibing where Zhen Dazhou and his son were staying. Lin Yi, Zhen Dazhou jumped and almost fell to the ground. He looked at Ma Zhu with fear. Godfather Ma, what do we do? Didn't I tell you to wait for a while? When my master comes, won't it be easy to get rid of him? Ma Zhu frowned impatiently. Although he hated Lin Yi, he knew that with his current strength, he couldn't do anything to Lin Yi. Oh! Zhen Dazhou walked over in fear and opened the door. He forced himself to be calm. Lin Yi, what are you doing here? We're even now, right? Godfather Ma was injured by you, and my son was crippled. What else do you want? Oh, we're even now. But this time, I'm here for something new. It has nothing to do with the last time. Lin Yi smiled and said calmly. Something new? What do you mean? Zhen Dazhou froze. Last time you blackmailed me. This time, it's my turn to blackmail you. Lin Yi said. Blackmail me? Zhen Dazhou's face changed. 500 million. I like to pay back double. You blackmailed me 250 million, so it's not a lot for me to blackmail you 500 million, right? Lin Yi smiled at Zhen Dazhou as if he was harmless. If you don't give it to me, I'll kidnap your son and go to Donghai to destroy all your properties. I'm good at demolishing buildings. I've already destroyed 2 of Zhao Qibing's buildings. Isn't it fun? Chapter 964. Talented girl of House Lu Zhendajo had never heard of a ransom like this. His face was green from anger, but he didn't dare do anything to Lin Yi. Who knew what would happen if he pissed off Lin Yi? Lin Yi even dared to kill people from Xiao family and House Yu, let alone him. Plus, Lin Yi said that if he didn't pay up, he'd go to Donghai and tear down his property. This made Dajo feel extremely humiliated. Only now did he understand what it meant to be an evil person. Compared to Lin Yi, he was nothing. 500 million. I can't take it out. Dajo suppressed his anger and said, "Oh, then give me how much you have first." Lin Yi said, "Write me an IOU if you don't have enough." "All right." Dajo gritted his teeth. "I only have 250 million now." He knew that if he held it in, he'd have to wait for Ma Zhu's Shifu to come. How much Lin Yi wanted, he'd have to cough it up. Lin Yi was robbing him in the open, and he'd do the same. Ma Zhu's Shifu would just stand there and ask for money from Lin Yi and Pengzhan. If he didn't pay up, he'd kill his entire family. Dajo, at this moment, had completely forgotten about the lessons of Xiao family, House Yu, and Zhao Qibing. The people who threatened Lin Yi to kill Lin Yi's family were all killed by Lin Yi. But even if he thought of this, Dajo didn't feel that there was anything wrong with it. As far as he was concerned, Ma Zhu's Shifu was much stronger than Lin Yi. He was an Earth-class master and had mastered the Golden Shield. Unless he was crushed by a meteor or something, normal road rollers wouldn't be able to do anything to him. No matter how strong Lin Yi was, he couldn't beat Jin Wudi, who was so much higher than him. Moreover, Mystic and Earth class were worlds apart. With that thought, Zhen Dajo took a deep breath and buried this hatred in his heart. He was going to wait for Jin Wudi to get back at Lin Yi. 250 million? Lin Yi frowned. "I gave you 250 million already. Why do you have 250 million already?" "I did have money before, but I used it to treat Zhen Ingjun." Zhen Dajo's eyes were filled with hatred. "How dare you ask me where the money went? If it wasn't for you, would I have spent so much money to treat Zhen Ingjun? All right, 250 million it is. Transfer it to this account," Lin Yi said as he gave Dajo an account number. Zhen Dajo didn't do anything. He directly transferred 250 million to Lin Yi and wrote an IOU to Lin Yi. Yinjing, House Lu. Although what happened in Songzhan these days had nothing to do with Lu Qianni paid more attention to the situation in Songzhan than anyone else. Lin Yi was injured and lost all his strength. This was a piece of news that Lu Qianni received. After the news of Lin Yi losing all his strength, House Lu exploded. Lu Zhenhu's son, Lu Qianli, came home with a long face and found Lu Qianni unhappily. "Big brother, I don't want to criticize you, but how can you just lend money like that? Our Lu family's money doesn't grow on trees. It's earned by me, every single cent. You're the heir of the house, and if you want to borrow money, I'll lend it to you without hesitation. But when you borrow money, shouldn't you investigate if the person has the ability to repay? I heard that Xiao family, House Yu, and the hidden houses Bastard Masterbing are all going to cause trouble for this Lin Yi. It's hard to say if he'll even be alive when that happens. How can he repay the money? Tianli, you need to look at the long term. Even if Lin Yi doesn't have his martial arts, he still has his medical skills. It's only a matter of time before he returns to the top of this world." Lu Qianni wasn't too worried about the situation in Songzhan. "What's the use of medical skills if he's dead?" Lu Tianli said, unconvinced. "Dad, I think Uncle's right. This Lin Yi, if he's really as amazing as he says, then he'll be able to provide us with a helping hand in the future." A young girl beside Lu Zhenhu interrupted. "House Lu started with business and politics, but we don't have any practitioners. This is a hindrance to House Lu's development. We may have a marriage alliance with House Wu, but we're still too weak. We need to find a new helping hand. Sometimes we need to gamble. This 100 million can be seen as a gamble. If we win, we'll get unimaginable benefits. If we lose, we'll just think of it as 100 million. If Dad doesn't feel good about it, then deduct it from my bonus." This young girl was Lu Tianli's daughter, Lu Jinghan. House Lu's genius. She started doing business with Lu Tianli when she was 15. To the outside world, Lu Tianli was the one in charge of House Lu's business, But those who knew the inside story knew that this 15-year-old girl was the one in charge of House Lu's business. She started her business at 15, doubled House Lu's business at 16, and doubled it again at 17. Right after her 18th birthday, Lu Jinhu allowed her to participate in House Lu's meeting. Lu Jinhu had already treated Lu Jinghan as the third generation of House Lu. The only regret was that she was a girl. If she were to become the head of House Lu, then unless her child was surnamed Lu, they wouldn't be able to become the next head of House Lu. They'd have to pick someone else from the family. Tianli, Jing's right. We have to look at the long term. Lu Jinhu spoke up as well. If Lin Yi gets through this successfully, then House Lu will have built a good relationship with Lin Yi. House Lu will benefit greatly in the future as well. You may be good at business, but you're not as good at the big picture as Jing. You still have to learn. Yes, father. Tianli heard that his father had spoken up, and naturally, he wouldn't say anything more. After all, he admired his daughter a lot. Chapter 965. Making friends with a love rival? Yeah, Tianli, if it weren't for Lin Yi, father wouldn't be this healthy right now. So, this 100 million, even if it's to thank him, what's the harm? Lu Tianyi said. I understand. Tianli nodded. However, while House Lu was in the middle of a meeting, news came from the other side. Lin Yi didn't lose his strength, but was pretending to be weak. Yu Bide was dead. Uncle Pai was in a vegetative state, and Zhao Qibing's leg was broken. House Lu's couldn't help but look at each other when they heard the news. Lin Yi was at a disadvantage just a moment ago. So how did he turn the situation around in the next instant, turning from passive to active? Plus, wasn't Lin Yi a little too ruthless? He even dared to kill House Yu Bide, and even Xiao family's Uncle Pai was in a vegetative state. Even the hidden house, Zhao Qibing's leg was broken by Lin Yi. This Lin Yi, he tricked us all. He was pretending to be weak all this time. We were worried about him for nothing. Lu Tianyi couldn't help but let out a long sigh of relief. Lin Yi was fine, so House Lu was the happiest. Lin Yi would probably remember that 100 million, and he wouldn't mistreat House Lu in the future. Indeed, I was short-sighted. Tianli sighed in self-mockery. But this Lin Yi sure is ruthless, isn't he? What he did, didn't he offend House Yu, Xiao family, and the hidden house Zhao? Wouldn't House Lu be in trouble if we get in touch with him? Lu Tianyi fell into deep thought after hearing Tianli's words. The situation was indeed complicated. Lin Yi, House Yu, and the Xiao family were mortal enemies, and this hatred couldn't be resolved. If House Lu still stood on Lin Yi's side, wouldn't that put them in a passive position? With House Lu's current strength, it wasn't appropriate for them to become enemies with House Yu and Xiao family at the same time. Jing, what do you think? Jinhu didn't make any comments. Instead, he looked at his granddaughter and asked for her opinion. I think it's time to disclose the fact that Lin Yi saved Grandpa. Lu Jinghan pondered for a moment and said, Oh. Tianli paused, not understanding the connection between these two things. His daughter's question was completely irrelevant. Tianli was the conservative type. It was okay to keep a business, but it was hard to start a business. Wonderful. Jing, you are indeed the talented daughter of our Lu family. Lu Tianyi suddenly clapped his hands and laughed. Lin Yi is the benefactor of our Lu family. It's only right and proper for us to be close to him. Otherwise, it would be repaying kindness with enmity. We helped Lin Yi for a reason, and even if House Yu and Xiao family knew about it, they wouldn't be able to say anything. I see, Tianli said, understanding dawning on him. That's right. Although many of the noble houses do some dirty things behind the scenes, they still care about face and reason on the surface. We, House Lu, are indebted to Lin Yi, and if we don't stand on Lin Yi's side, then we'll be disloyal. Jinhu nodded. Let's do as Jing says. Yes, father. Lu Tianyi and Lu Tianli agreed. Lu Jinghan, on the other hand, didn't look happy or pleased at all. She stood quietly behind Jinhu, but a trace of suspicion flashed across her beautiful eyes. Was this Lin Yi really pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? Was there something she didn't know about? What a strange person. Lu Jinghan shook her head. She wasn't sure if this 100 million was enough to exchange for Lin Yi's friendship. Lin Yi went to Jin Dazhou for the money after parting ways with Tang Yun, giving him Ping Zhan's account. After Dazhou transferred the money, Lin Yi returned to House Chu's villa. The villa's door was already brand new, and the broken parts were repaired, but the cement wasn't dry yet. Peng Zhan didn't go to the company yet, but went to Faubert's room. Lin Yi's injuries were healed, and his strength had returned. Could he cure Faubert? Lin Yi had lost all his strength, and Peng Zhan couldn't ask Lin Yi to cure Faubert. He could only bring Faubert with him when they were escaping, and let Lin Yi think of a way. But now, everything was in the past. Peng Zhan wanted to ask Lin Yi to see if he could cure Faubert. The Miss and Yushu, on the other hand, were sitting on the sofa in the living room, whispering to each other. Why isn't Shield Bro back yet? What's he doing? Yushu looked at the clock in the living room, calculating the time. He's probably going to see Tang Yin. He's not going back home anymore, so he has to go talk to her. Meng Yao knew Lin Yi very well. He treated Tang Yin very well. Oh, I wonder if Tang Yin will be disappointed. Shield Bro's going to be with us again. She'll probably faint from anger when she hears about it. Yushu said excitedly. Shu, don't talk nonsense. Meng Yao spoke up for Tang Yun for the first time. Actually, Tang Yun is very selfless. She can give up everything here and go back home with Lin Yi. This shows that she cares about Lin Yi a lot. Since she was chosen by Lin Yi, then we should accept her when we accept Lin Yi. Oh, then Yao Yao sis, do you accept Tang Yun as Shield Bro's second wife? Yushu asked. What do you mean by second wife? Meng Yao glared at Yushu and frowned. What I mean is, we can all be good friends. At least we won't be at each other's throats like we are now. How can a love rival become good friends? Yushu asked curiously. Who's the love rival? I told you I don't like Lin Yi. Meng Yao said. Oh, Yao Yao sis, you're lying. Yushu didn't believe it. Okay, then let's say I like Lin. It's just an example. It's not real, Meng Yao said. Meng Yao said, but you like your Shield Bro too, and you want to be his concubine. Are we rivals in love then? Ugh, I think so. Yushu shook her head. Then are we good friends? Meng Yao asked again. I think so. Yushu nodded. Then why can't we be friends with Tang Yin? Meng Yao asked again. But, Yao Yao sis, what you said is just an assumption. You said you don't like Lin Yi. It's not real, Yushu said. Yeah, if it's not real, then we aren't love rivals, right? Meng Yao was pleased with herself. She finally got Yushu into it. Oh, Yushu was a little confused. She shook her head. Then be friends with her, I don't care. It's good enough to be his second wife. Chapter 966. Borrow and Return. As the saying goes, a palace maid who doesn't want to be an empress isn't a good palace maid. Yushu said, then why are you still a small wife? Meng Yao was confused after hearing Yushu's words. I'm not done yet. But a wife who doesn't fight for the first wife is a good wife. Yushu added. Hashtag Meng Yao rolled her eyes, speechless. The two were talking when Lin Yi pushed the door open. He saw Meng Yao and Yushu in the living room, but Peng Zhan wasn't there. Uncle Chu left already? No, Daddy's in Faubert's room. Meng Yao shook her head. Lin Yi, you didn't go to school? Oh, Lin Yi was slightly startled, not understanding what the eldest miss was referring to. Actually, Meng Yao wanted to ask Lin Yi if he went to see Tang Yun, but Lin Yi didn't understand. She couldn't say out loud, so she just said, it's nothing. Peng Zhan heard the conversation in the living room and walked out to see Lin Yi. Lin Yi, do you have anything else to do now? No more. Lin Yi shook his head. By the way, Uncle Chu, I've asked Jin Dazhou to transfer 250 million back to your account, but 100 million was borrowed from Lu Tianyi. You have to return it to him. Money's coming already? Peng Zhan's eyes widened. Yes, I told him that if he didn't give me the money, I would kidnap his son and raise his businesses in the East China Sea. Then, he gave me the money, Lin Yi said casually, as if he was talking about something very ordinary. Peng Zhan was speechless after hearing Lin Yi's words. He could get money like that? This Jin Dazhou is really a coward. Where did the domineering attitude he had when he kidnapped Yao Yao and asked for money go? But now, Pengzhan understood that the so-called dominance was something that could only be displayed in front of those who had no strength. Just like himself, he didn't know what to do when facing the kidnappers. Didn't he too? Not knowing what to do? Zhen Dazhou, on the other hand, had probably lost his temper because of Lin Yi's threats. Who asked House Yu, Xiao family, and Zhao Qibing to learn from their mistakes? No matter how stupid Zhen Dazhou was, he wouldn't go against Lin Yi at this time. Chill, bro. You're amazing. How did you get money like this? If you don't like someone, you could just scare them for money. Yushu said excitedly. Shu, don't talk nonsense. Extorting someone is a crime. Meng Yao stopped Shu from continuing. What I'm saying is that Shield Bro specializes in extorting bad guys. Yushu added. It's better to be like that, you bide, slapping him to death. Meng Yao said. Yao sis, you're even more vicious than me. Yushu exclaimed. Lil Yi, since there's nothing else, can you take a look at Faubert's injury? Pengzhan waved his hand, telling the two girls to leave Lin Yi alone, and asked Lin, Uncle Chu, I came back in a hurry to take a look at Faubert's injury. Lin Yi said, let's go, we'll go now. Oh, okay. I'll ask the accountant to transfer the money to Lu Tianyi. Pengzhan received a notification from the bank and asked Lin Yi, untransfer it. I'll call Lu Tianyi. Lin Yi nodded. Okay. Pengzhan replied and went to handle the transfer. Lin Yi dialed Lu Tianyi's number. The Lius were having a family meeting and had just come up with a strategy when Lin Yi's call came in. Lu Tianyi quickly picked up. Hello? Miracle Dr. Lin, hello. Mr. Lu, I've used up the money. I'm preparing to transfer it back to your account. Please check when the money arrives. Thank you for your trouble. Lin Yi said gratefully. House Lu's generosity at this time made Lin Yi look at them in a different light. His impression of Lu Tianyi improved a lot. Godly Dr. Lin, you're too kind. What's there to return? You could just take it and use it. Aren't you looking down on our Lu family by returning it? Lu Tianyi heard Lin Yi's words and felt a little disappointed. Miracle, Dr. Lin, do you not see me as a friend anymore? Why would I? If we weren't friends, I wouldn't have asked Mr. Lu. Lin Yi said calmly, but there's a saying that goes, it's easy to borrow again when you've borrowed it. If Mr. Lu doesn't want it anymore, I won't dare to ask Mr. Lu again. Is that so? Lu Tianyi hesitated. He smiled bitterly and nodded. All right. Since Miracle Dr. Lin insists, I'll do as you say. But to thank Mr. Lu for your generosity, I can help you or your friend with a free treatment. Lin Yi naturally wasn't someone who didn't thank others after using them. Naturally, he had to give Lu Tianyi some benefits. How? How can I accept that? Lu Tianyi was flattered and disappointed at the same time. After all, Lin Yi returned the money and promised House Lu a treatment. That meant that he was even with House Lu. This made Lu Tianyi, who wanted to build a good relationship with Lin Yi, fail. It's nothing. Lin Yi smiled. That's all for now. I still have something to do here. All right, Miracle Dr. Lin. I'll leave you to your work. Lu Tianyi hung up and sighed helplessly. What's wrong, brother? You don't look too happy. Lin Yi already returned the money. What's not good about it? Tianli roughly understood what Lin Yi was talking about. Not only did he return the money, but Lin Yi also promised House Lu something. Why didn't he look too happy? Lin Yi transferred 100 million back to my account. Lu Tianyi smiled bitterly. Plus, Lin Yi promised me that he could give House Lu a free treatment. That's a good thing. Tianli didn't understand what Lu Tianyi was saying. Not only did Lin Yi return the money, he also promised us something good. This is a great thing. Why aren't you happy? Tianli, you've been doing business for so long. You've been making steady profits every year, but you haven't broken through yet. Why is that? Jinhu spoke up. And Jing only went for a year, and the profits doubled. Why is that? Chapter 967. Chapter 965. You're from House Sun? It's your vision, but your vision is still that of a businessman, not an entrepreneur. Jinhu said, businessmen focus on profit when they do business, and if there's a price, there must be a price to pay. Otherwise, it'll be a loss. You, on the other hand, wouldn't do something that's a loss. That's why the family business has been profitable all these years, never losing anything. This is your ability. Tianli, on the other hand, lowered his head in silence, as if he was being taught a lesson. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, have to look at the long term, not at the short term. Jinhu said, Jing, why don't you tell us what you think about this? Yes, Grandpa. Lu Jinghan nodded slightly and said, Lin, you returned the money to House Lu and promised us something. This means that Lin, he doesn't really treat House Lu as a friend, but as a token of gratitude, he's done with House Lu. We may have gotten some benefits for now, but it's not something to be happy about. Did you hear that? Tianli, this is the difference between you and Jing. She can multiply the group's profits in her hands, and you, on the other hand, are just sticking to the rules. Jinhu waved his hand. Forget it. It's too easy to get Lin Yi's friendship with just this. We'll have more chances in the future. I heard that the ranking of the noble houses might change in the upcoming meeting, and it looks like Family Zhao's name is fated to be erased from the list. Yeah, who's next after Family Zhao? Looking at the strength of all the noble houses, House Lu is the weakest. Lu Tianyi said, although we'll be able to maintain our position in the near future, who knows what will happen in the future? Lin Yi, naturally, didn't have the time to think about House Lu's loss. He'd already followed Pingzhan to Faubert's room. At this moment, Faubert was lying quietly on the hospital bed, motionless. His body was still full of silver needles, which were inserted by Lin Yi before. Lin Yi quickly checked Faubert's physical condition and found that it had not deteriorated, so he could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. How is it, Yi? Can you save him? Pengzhan asked anxiously. Sure. Lin Yi nodded and said, let Yao and Shu stay in the living room and alert me at any time. If there's an intruder, let me know immediately. All right. Pengzhan didn't dare to delay and quickly walked out of the room to order Meng Yao and Yu Shu. He knew that Lin Yi was going to use his unique method to heal Faubert, so he didn't dare to disturb him and quietly left the room, closing the door for Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't plan to heal Faubert in one day. Although on the surface, the enemies seemed to have calmed down after being beaten up by Lin Yi, but there was no guarantee that there would still be people who would do something desperate. So, Lin Yi planned to heal Faubert in a few days, so that he could recover quickly after his energy loss. After all, even if Faubert was healed, he would still be a cripple, so Lin Yi was in a hurry. After all, physical practitioners were different from spiritual practitioners. Lin Yi could only heal Faubert's injuries to the most basic state, but he couldn't let him recover his strength. This was because physical practitioners train the body, and Lin Yi couldn't train for him. Lin Yi activated the art of dragon mastery and started to heal Faubert's meridians. The energy in Lin Yi's body was continuously transferred to Faubert's body, quickly healing his damaged organs. Lin Yi planned to heal Faubert's internal injuries first, then his external injuries. Once the internal injuries were healed, Faubert could wake up. As for whether he could get off the bed or not, it wasn't too important. Half an hour later, Lin Yi let out a long breath. Healing Faubert's damaged organs cost Lin Yi a third of his energy. When he healed Faubert, Lin Yi didn't hold back like when he healed Lu Buojia. He completely healed Faubert's organs. Faubert had been lying on the bed for a long time. Once his organs were healed, he slowly woke up. Seeing Lin Yi in front of the bed, he was slightly stunned and said anxiously, Mr. Lin, hurry up and save Miss and Shu. They were captured. I've already saved them. Lin Yi smiled. He didn't expect Faubert to be so loyal, sacrificing himself for Yao and Shu. And the first thing he said after he woke up was to ask him to save them. Phew! Faubert let out a long breath. That's good. Mr. Lin, you saved me? Yes, it must be. I'm asking the obvious. Thank you. Faubert, you're treating me like an outsider. We're not strangers, and you got injured because of Yao and Shu. How can I not care? Lin Yi smiled indifferently. He didn't think that healing Faubert was a credit. I can't thank you enough. Faubert nodded. Oh, right, Mr. Lin. Call me Little E. That's what Uncle Chu calls me. Lin Yi interrupted Faubert. That's fine. I'll call you Little E then. Faubert hesitated and agreed. Little E. I've always been curious. Your pure energy can actually be used to heal others. You have to know that only disciples of the same sect can use their pure energy with each other. If you're not from the same sect, not only will your pure energy not benefit others, it will also cause harm. I know that, but I'm a bit special. Lenny naturally knew what Faubert was talking about. Different types of pure energy entering a spiritual practitioner's body would require more pure energy to refine, or else it would be life-threatening. This was also why Lin didn't use the art of dragon mastery and sent his energy into Yao Wang's body. Not only could his pure energy not be used by Yao Wang, but it could also severely injure him. You're from House Sun? Faubert hesitated and asked. House Sun? Which House Sun? Lin Yi paused. Aren't you? Faubert saw Lin Yi's shocked expression and knew he guessed wrong. He shook his head. Yes, House Sun can't heal so many people at once. Their pure energy can only be used by one or a few people. What do you mean? Lin Yi was a bit interested. Faubert, you mean that this House Sun has the same ability as me? It was the first time Lin Yi heard of a house that had the same ability as him, using pure energy to heal others. Chapter 968. A crazy idea. This House Sun is the so-called healing house? Lin Yi asked. Yes, the Sun family is still one of the 4 big aristocratic families and 5 small aristocratic families. The children of the Sun family can also be said to be inner force cultivators, but they are not good at fighting with others. The true qi in their bodies can only be used to heal others or improve their skills. Uncle Fu nodded and said, but most of the Sun family's children can only heal one person in their lifetime before they break through the first level of their family's secret art. Once the true qi in their body is assimilated by someone else, it can no longer be changed. Unless he breaks through to the second level, he will be able to heal 2 people, and so on. Currently, the head of the Sun clan can only heal 4 people. However, he's already used up 3 spots, and there's only 1 left. Oh, Lin Yi found Faubert's word strange. House Sun's cultivation method was similar to his, but completely different. They had to spend a lot of effort to break through to the next stage in order to heal 1 more person, but he was only at the first stage of the art of dragon mastery, and his energy was omnipotent. Therefore, the descendants of the Sun family are the targets that all the aristocratic families want to rope in through marriage. Which aristocratic family doesn't want a life-saving trump card? Faubert's face turned gloomy at this point. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. You probably have nothing to do with House Sun anymore. Of course, my surname is Lin, not Sunday. Linny nodded. But Faubert, you seem to have something to say? You seem to have a deep connection with this House Sun? Lily, there are some things I've never mentioned to Mr. Chu. Because he's not a person of the Jianghu, I don't want him to worry about these things. Faubert sighed. But you're a person of the Jianghu. Just think of it as me nagging you because I'm old. Since you've heard it, then forget it. I think this is all I'll be for the rest of my life. It's impossible for me to recover my strength. Now that I've told you these things in my heart, I can be at ease and be an old housekeeper. Faubert, go ahead. Lenny could tell from the start that Li Fu was a man with a story. There were many times when he saw Lin Yi that Li Fu wanted to say something but didn't. Now that he was injured, he knew that he couldn't recover his strength. He was depressed and wanted to talk to someone, and Lin Yi was a good listener. Lil, you guessed right. My wife is from House Sun. At this point, Uncle Fu's murky eyes seemed to flash with a glimmer of light, as if he had returned to his younger days. And my real name is not Li Fu. Lin, he didn't expect Faubert's wife to be from House Sunday, then before. There's no need to talk about my previous identity. Failure. Faubert sighed. That was 20 years ago. At that time, I was proud of myself. As the young head, I had the strength of a peak late-phase mystic class. I could be said to be one of the best in all the sections. I married a woman from House Sun, and with her help, I broke through to Earth class. I was young and successful. What? You're an Earth class? Lin Yi's eyes widened as he looked at Faubert in disbelief. Faubert was an Earth class, but he was only a Golden class before. An Earth class early phase spiritual practitioner. Uncle Fu nodded his head with a hint of pride in his eyes. However, he soon let out a bitter sigh. But a disaster has befallen us. Our sect has been destroyed, my wife has been killed, my daughter has gone missing, and the sect's treasures have been stolen. I don't even know who the enemy is. What? Lin, he couldn't be more shocked. If it weren't for the fact that he'd known Faubert for so long and knew that he wouldn't lie so easily, Lin, he would have thought that Faubert was making up a story. I've hidden my identity for so many years, investigating the truth of the matter in secret. But there's no news. These years, my desire for revenge has faded. Seeing Miss Chu is like seeing my own daughter, so I took care of her with all my heart. It can be said that I've found some comfort. Faubert sighed. Isn't it a little strange? Lin E nodded without hesitation. So you're a spiritual practitioner? After my meridians were damaged, I hid my identity and trained in physical arts again. At that time, I only wanted to stand at the peak again to avenge my wife and daughter and my sect. But now, I don't even know who the enemy is, not to mention revenge. Faubert shook his head and said, I'm telling you because it's uncomfortable to keep it in my heart. Just treat it as a story. After listening to it, it'll be over. Faubert didn't expect Lin E to help him with anything. These secrets had been kept in his heart for so long that it made him feel a little depressed. Now that he had said it, he was relieved. Lin E knew that Faubert didn't speak in detail. There were many details that he didn't mention. He only roughly described his past. But although Lin E was puzzled, it wasn't good for him to ask. After all, these were the scars in Faubert's heart. If Lin E asked, it would only make Faubert more sad. If Faubert wanted to say it, he would slowly tell him the truth in the future. If Faubert didn't want to say it, then it was useless for him to ask. You used to be a spiritual practitioner? An Earth class at that? A crazy idea popped up in Lin Yi's mind. Yes. Faubert nodded and smiled. But a real man doesn't boast about his past achievements. It's all in the past. I've said it all. Just treat it as a story. Faubert, if it's possible to recover your strength, do you want to try? Lin E asked after thinking for a while. Recover my strength? Faubert was obviously stunned, but then he smiled bitterly. You want me to start from the beginning again? I don't have any confidence anymore. Lin E, I understand that you want me to pull myself together, but I've really given up. I thought that I could have a breakthrough in my physical kung fu, but all these years I've been stuck at the peak of the late phase of the golden class. Even if I wanted to break through to the mystic class, it's still far away. You have to know that physical and spiritual are two completely different things. The higher you go, the harder it is to break through. Haha, I'm talking about the spiritual style. Lin E smiled and said. Spiritual style? Faubert was slightly stunned, but there was a flash of surprise in his eyes. He then said with some uncertainty, You mean, you can help me practice spiritual kung fu again? But my meridians, I can repair them. Lin E nodded and said with certainty. Chapter 969. Creating an Earth class. If his own meridians could be repaired, then Faubert's meridians could definitely be repaired as well. His own energy was omnipotent, and Lin E believed that it wouldn't be difficult to do so. It was just a matter of time. As long as he didn't use up all the energy in his body every time, he'd be able to recover his strength in a short period of time, and his enemies wouldn't be able to take advantage of him. But after he repaired Faubert's meridians, he wasn't sure if Faubert would still be able to practice inner chi again. But no matter what, as soon as this idea came to his mind, he couldn't help but want to test it out. If Faubert's strength was restored, then he would have an Earth class by his side. Just thinking about it was enough to make Lin E excited. You're saying you can repair meridians? Faubert asked, a little uncertain. Yes, Hao Sun could do it, so you should be able to as well. Faubert, I'll use some time to help you repair your meridians. Lin E nodded and said with certainty. A trace of excitement flashed through Uncle Fu's eyes, but it was quickly extinguished Lil, even if my meridians are healed, I don't have any chi left in my body. If I want to cultivate, I'll have to start from scratch. What's wrong with starting from scratch? Lenny said, you were able to reach the early phase of an Earth class 20 years ago. Isn't that because of your talent? It's not too late to start from scratch now. Of course I have talent. Uncle Fu sighed. However, my strength is the result of the accumulation of countless heavenly treasures and the help of that thing. That's why I have such unparalleled strength. But now, Lin Yi fell silent after listening to Uncle Fu's words. He'd underestimated the situation a little too much. Yes, Falbert may have been an Earth class before, but he might not be able to reach it again. One had to know that in many cases, leveling up and breaking through required luck and luck. No matter what, let's repair your meridians first. Maybe there's another way. Lin, he didn't want to give up. The temptation of an Earth class was too great. If there really was an Earth class, then Ma Zhu and the like would be nothing. Very well. Since you have such high hopes for me, how could I let you down? Uncle Fu nodded with a smile. Thinking about how I still have to protect Miss Chu, I'll continue cultivating as well. All right, we'll stop here for today. I'll come every day to help you repair your meridians and injuries until you're fully recovered. Every day? Falbert smiled bitterly in surprise. Your chi recovery is quite fast. I don't even know where you absorb it from. You have to know that the chi in the city is thin to a certain extent. Every time you lose a lot of strength, you can recover very quickly. It's really amazing. Lenny smiled and didn't explain. He couldn't tell outsiders about the Jade Space. These secrets could only be shared with the old man. Lin, he couldn't trust anyone else. If you're bored and reminisce about the past, you can continue to chat with me. Okay. Falbert understood Lin Yi's meaning. He wanted to ask about the details of his past, but Falbert didn't want to tell Lin Yi too much. With Lin Yi's current strength, there was no need for him to know these things. It wouldn't do Lin Yi any good. I'll keep what happened today a secret from Uncle Chu. Lin Yi turned and left Falbert's room. Thank you, Falbert said seriously. It wasn't just that Lin Yi wanted to keep it a secret. It was that Lin Yi wanted to help him recover his meridians and strength. Peng Zhan, Meng Yao, and Yushu sat on the sofa anxiously, waiting for Lin Yi's news. Falbert could be said to be Peng Zhan's right-hand man. He'd been loyal to him all these years, so he cared a lot about Falbert's safety. As for Meng Yao, other than Peng Zhan, Lin Yi, and Shu, the person closest to her was Falbert. So in her heart, she prayed that Lin Yi could cure Falbert. Yushu may have been joking around all day, but in her heart, she was the most loyal fan of Shield Bro. She also cared about Falbert, but she was even more certain that Shield Bro could cure Falbert. The first rule of a mistress was to believe that her man was the best. How is it? Peng Zhan saw Lin Yi coming out and quickly walked over. Falbert is awake, but the follow-up treatment will take a few days. Lin Yi said, he's awake? That's great. Peng Zhan's face lit up. Thank you so much. Uncle Chu, you're being too polite. Lin Yi waved his hand. It's nothing. Can we see him? Peng Zhan asked. Of course. Other than the fact that Falbert can't get out of bed yet, he's very energetic. Lin Yi thought that Peng Zhan was being too careful. Falbert was just telling him a story. However, Peng Zhan was using common sense. As far as he was concerned, Falbert was like a patient who had just come down from the operating table, and Lin Yi was the surgeon. That was why Peng Zhan asked Lin Yi like other family members. The pressure on House Chu disappeared in an instant, and Peng Zhan Industries returned to normal. Even some of the higher-ups of the company didn't know what happened a few days ago, but since Peng Zhan didn't want to talk about it, they didn't ask. In short, everything was over. Songzhan regained its peace. All the enemies of Peng Zhan Industries seemed to have gone into hibernation and disappeared without a trace. Even Zhao Qibing wasn't arrogant anymore. He quietly went to the slums and started a renovation project. All he could do now was to make some money from his own business. Yao Wang's body was full of needles, but he still hadn't found a solution. Although Yao Wang was a mystic class master and could sleep sitting down, these needles were like a time bomb that could make him lose all his strength at any time. Lin Yi's life returned to normal. But now, Lin Yi took over Falbert's job, becoming the Miss and Shu's driver every day. The Bentley was repaired, but Lin Yi didn't like to drive such a formal car. Lin Yi wasn't a professional driver, so he chose Ming Yao's Audi S5. However, there was one more person to pick him up, Tang Yun. Chapter 970. Spilled the beans. Ming Yao was still as cold as ever. She and Shu sat at the back of the S5, leaving the front passenger seat for Tang Yun. Only when Tang Yun got in and out of the car did Miss greet her. Although it was a little indifferent, it was less hostile. It was more like a normal friend nodding at her. Tang Yun's attitude towards Miss was strange. In the past, Meng Yao and Shu would always show hostility when they saw her. But now, it seemed like they were treating her as a normal friend. Did they look down on her and didn't see her as a competitor anymore? Or did they give up on Lin Yi? If it was the former, Tang Yun felt that she couldn't let her guard down. But if it was the latter, Tang Yun would feel strange. If they didn't like Lin Yi, then her four-person team was too strange. In fact, Tang Yun didn't understand Miss's personality. Miss was cold on the outside, but warm on the inside. When she accepted someone, she would change from cold to warm. In fact, Miss's attitude towards Lin Yi was still cold, but in her heart, she treated him as a friend that couldn't be lost. Meng Yao didn't know what to say to Tang Yun. Plus, with Lin Yi here, she couldn't say anything. She wanted to try to get to know Tang Yun, but she realized that the two of them were living in two different worlds. Miss hadn't experienced Tang Yun's family before. Meng Yao didn't want to talk about her own family either. It would be like showing off in front of Tang Yun. 2 days later, Lin Yi himself was starting to feel uncomfortable. In the car, he wanted to say something to Tang Yun, but he remembered that Miss was staring at him from behind, so he couldn't say anything to Tang Yun. Miss also didn't want to talk to Tang Yun because Tang Yun was in front. She didn't even talk to Shu. In the past, the young Miss and Shu would talk about all sorts of topics. However, the two of them were financially well off, so it was natural for them to talk about new clothing styles and cosmetics. But now, the young Miss seemed to be purposely avoiding these topics. Fortunately, after 2 days of Lin Yi's treatment, Falbert's body had recovered to its original state. It was just that he didn't have the strength of a physical practitioner, but it didn't affect his movements. The task of the full-time driver fell on Falbert again, which made Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. On the highway from Yinjing to Songshan, a black Audi with a special license plate was speeding along. In the car, a middle-aged man and a young girl were talking. These two were Feng Tianlong and Xiao Xiao, father and daughter. I won't go there again. Unhappiness was written all over Xiao Xiao's face. We've wasted so much time, and we haven't gotten any results yet. How many more months do I have left? Xiao Xiao, you should believe in the current medical technology. Look, this is the report when you first came to Yinjing, and this is the report when we left. Your condition has obviously improved. Tianlong pointed at the report. Better? Did they cure him? All they do is make me draw blood every day, and that's it? Xiao Xiao pouted. I even had a relapse in the middle of the journey. If it weren't for Lin Yi, I'd be dead already. Tianlong's eyes narrowed when he heard the name. As one of the most secretive intelligence departments, Feng Tianlong knew everything that happened in Songshan City. Lin Yi was up against the bastard of House Yu, Xiao family, and House Xiao. Although Yu Bide and Uncle Pai's death had nothing to do with Lin Yi, it was still Lin Yi's fault. His grudge with House Yu, Xiao family, and House Zhao was now set in stone. What interested Tianlong the most was that Lin Yi was able to recover and regain his strength so quickly after being heavily injured, and so was the dog beside him. That meant that there had to be a very powerful medical expert by Lin Yi's side. Tianlong's information was naturally the most comprehensive and detailed, but he still couldn't find out who it was that healed Lin Yi and helped him regain his strength. Lin Yi had gone to Xu Amin's house once during this time, but it was only after his injuries had healed. The possibility of it being Xu Amin wasn't high. Tianlong had guessed that this person was Xu Amin, and the reason he came back to Songshan with Xiao Xiao was to see Xu Amin and ask him for a pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. He wanted to see if it could cure Xiao Xiao's illness, but after this incident, Tianlong felt that the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing didn't seem to be made by Xuemin. If Xuemin could make these miraculous medicines, he would have done it a long time ago. Why would he wait until now? Plus, why did everything that had to do with Lin Yi become so strange and mysterious? Lin Yi's figure had appeared at the auction as well. Lin Yi had helped his team on a mission before, but Lin Yi was an external helper at the time, and his identity was kept a secret. Tianlong knew the rules, and he didn't ask too much about Lin Yi. But now, for his daughter, Tianlong had no choice but to ask Lin Yi about some things. Plus, there was another meaning to this. His daughter seemed to like Lin Yi. Did it happen when you were in Yinjing? Why didn't I know about it? Tianlong turned to his daughter. Why didn't you tell me about something this big? It's not that big. I was just taking a shower when I suddenly fainted. Luckily, Lin Yi found me in time, and I don't know how he did it, but I recovered pretty quickly. Xiao Xiao didn't want her father to worry, and it wasn't a big deal. She was fine, wasn't she? So she didn't say anything. You were taking a shower, and Lin Yi was beside you. Tianlong blinked. Why? Xiao Xiao realized that she'd spilled the beans, and her face reddened, a little embarrassed. No, it's not what you think. It was the first time Xiao Xiao was rambling in front of her father, like a child who'd done something wrong. She waved her hands around, not even knowing what she was saying. Chapter 971. Chapter 0969. Father phone goes to Lin Yi. What are you saying? I don't understand. Xiao Xiao covered her ears, not daring to listen anymore. Her heart, however, jumped. Was she going to fall in love? All this time, Xiao Xiao had been avoiding friendship and love, the two most important emotions in her life. She knew her situation, knew that she might die one day, and she was afraid of that kind of separation between friends and lovers. She didn't want to die in pain, and she didn't want others to feel the same pain and reluctance. So in her 18 years of life, friendship and love were practically non-existent. She didn't have any real friends, just a bunch of friends who played around with her. If she were to disappear one day, just like now, she'd have less contact with her racing friends, and they wouldn't purposely come looking for her. Soon enough, there would be new people joining them. Xiao Xiao felt like she was just a passerby in this world, a bystander, coming and going in a hurry. When it was the last lesson of her life, she'd leave peacefully and peacefully by herself. But her father's words today opened up Xiao Xiao's sealed heart. Although she was afraid of the hurt that friendship and love would bring when they parted, she still had some expectations and desires for the ups and downs that friendship and love brought. If she had a close friend and a lover who could understand her heart, she would probably die without regrets, right? But Xiao Xiao felt that it was a little selfish of her to do that. Friendship was fine, but love? Was she going to let her lover suffer the pain of losing her? Xiao Xiao felt that it was cruel. Xiao Xiao didn't say anything about it, but she could see how much her dad had been suffering these past years. He missed her very, very much, but there was nothing he could do. He could only work his ass off to ease the pain of missing her. Sometimes, when a small thought is planted in the heart, it becomes a seed that will slowly take root and germinate in the body. In the end, it will uncontrollably become a small tree that bursts out of the soil. Xiao Xiao didn't dare think about love before. She knew that she didn't have the right to think about it. But with her father's encouragement today, her heart was starting to soften. She really wanted to be in love before she died. Even if it was just a taste of love. But no, that would hurt others. Xiao Xiao liked to play pranks, but it was always within a controllable range to create some misunderstandings and trouble, especially against people she hated. She couldn't bear to do it to her lover. Dad, do you miss Mom? Xiao Xiao asked suddenly. Oh, Tianlong paused, and a painful expression flashed in his eyes. Yes, of course I will. Why are you suddenly asking about this? Then let me find a boyfriend. He'll miss me too. He'll be in pain. Xiao Xiao shook her head. Plus, my child will be like me, missing his mother. I don't want them to be in pain, Xiao Xiao. Tianlong sighed. How could he not understand his daughter's thoughts? However, his daughter's thoughts made him even more determined to have a chat with Lin Yi. Haha, don't worry about me, Dad. I'm doing pretty well right now. As long as you don't take me to see a doctor, I'll live a happy life. Xiao Xiao shook her head and said casually, Xiao Xiao, tell me the truth. Do you like Lin Yi or not? Feng Tianlong didn't answer his daughter's question. Instead, he solemnly turned his head and looked at his daughter. Xiao Xiao didn't think that her father would still harp on this question, and it was getting more and more direct. Xiao Xiao found it hard to answer. Did she like Lin Yi? Xiao Xiao didn't know. Her initial feelings towards him were just anger, and she wanted revenge. All of a sudden, Xiao Xiao thought of something. If she pretended to like Lin Yi, wouldn't she be able to have a taste of love? And if she died, Lin Yi would be sad for sure. Wouldn't she achieve her revenge on Lin Yi? Lin Yi, you pissed on me and set firecrackers on my butt. That's a huge humiliation. I've decided. I'll like you from today onwards. And when you fall deeply in love with me, I'll die. Let's see if you'll be sad or not. Of course, Xiao Xiao couldn't tell her father about this idea. She could only plan it in her heart. Now that she thought it through, Xiao Xiao couldn't be happier. She'd be able to enjoy the taste of love, and she'd be able to get her revenge on Lin Yi at the same time. It was killing two birds with one stone. Why not? Xiao Xiao asked him out. I want to see him. Tianlong looked at his daughter's expression and knew that his guess was correct. Even if his daughter didn't love Lin Yi, she had a good impression of him, and it seemed like their relationship was already quite close. His daughter had fainted in the middle of a shower, so she had to have been naked. What did that mean? Lin Yi was right beside her. What did that mean? What? Xiao Xiao jumped in shock. She looked at her father in disbelief. You wanted to ask him out? Yeah, is there a problem? Tianlong smiled. Xiao Xiao, don't worry. I just want to ask him about your condition and how he saved you. You know that your condition is getting better. Maybe he can find a way to cure you? Is that so? Xiao Xiao didn't believe her father's words. Of course. Tianlong nodded. If you don't want to ask him out, I'll go talk to him myself. Don't go talk to him. I'll talk to him first. Xiao Xiao jumped, but she was puzzled. She used this trick to trick Lin Yi a few days ago. Why did her father really want to talk to Lin Yi now? She couldn't have jinxed it, could she? Did she hit the nail on the head? Xiao Xiao was a little troubled. That's good. I'll be staying in Songshan for a few days. You can bring him to our house then. Tianlong said. Okay. Xiao Xiao agreed helplessly. She told Lin Yi that her father wanted to see him, but it was just an excuse to ask him to come to the hotel. But now it became reality. Xiao Xiao was a little troubled. Chapter 972. Xiao Xiao has a date during lunch break. Lin Yi and Tang Yin were having lunch in the cafeteria when Xiao Xiao called. Lin Yi couldn't help but frown as he looked at the caller ID. To be honest, Lin Yi didn't know what this Xiao Xiao girl was thinking. He felt that she was a bit weird. A few days ago, she hated him to death, and now she liked him all of a sudden. If it weren't for the fact that Lin Yi felt that there was something going on, he would have thought that this girl was a masochist. Why aren't you picking up? Tang Yin saw that Lin Yi didn't pick up the phone right away. She asked curiously. It's Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi said. Oh. Tang Yun's face froze when she heard Xiao Xiao's name, but she still said, hurry up and pick up? What if something happened? Yeah. Lin Yi nodded and picked up Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi, I'm back in Songshan. Where are you? Did you miss me? Xiao Xiao's voice was as bright as always, completely different from the sad Xiao Xiao when she was talking to her dad in the car. If it weren't for the fact that Xiao Xiao had an incurable disease, no one would have believed that this cheerful girl could be this sad. I'm at school, Lin Yi said. If we're classmates, then I miss you a little. TCH. Xiao Xiao was a bit displeased at Lin Yi's words. All right, classmate Lin, can you just touch a classmate's chest like that? Lin Yi jumped. This Xiao Xiao really dared to say anything. Luckily, her voice wasn't loud, and Tang Yin didn't hear it. What do you want? Didn't you promise to treat me to dinner? I'm a bit hungry now. Why didn't you come looking for me? Xiao Xiao didn't want to linger on that topic with Lin Yi. Some things were fine as long as she reminded Lin Yi once in a while. There was no point in talking too much. Now, Lin Yi frowned slightly. Yeah, I just got to Songshan. I haven't eaten yet. Xiao Xiao said. You promised me that you'd treat me to beef noodles, and I'll decide the time. All right, then. Lenny had no choice but to agree. He was a man of his word, and since he'd made a promise to Xiao Xiao, he'd have to keep it. Plus, Lenny felt like he owed Xiao Xiao a little. He didn't know what Xiao Xiao was doing, but he did touch a girl's private part. Even if only he and Xiao Xiao knew about this. If Xiao Xiao insisted on calling Lin Yi a gangster, then Lin Yi would have no choice but to accept it. After all, Lin Yi was really a little obsessed back then. He did it on purpose. Plus, Xiao Xiao had helped him a great deal in the auction, getting the Waniankin box into his hands. I'll drive to the school gate now. You can look for me there, Xiao Xiao said. All right. Lin Yi nodded. After hanging up, Lin Yi sighed before turning to Tang Yin. I'm going out for a bit. Oh, okay. Tang Yin nodded. She wanted to ask what Lin Yi was going to do, but it seemed like she was worried about Lin Yi and was interfering with his private affairs. Tang Yin was in a dilemma. But now, with a love rival like the miss in front of her, Tang Yin had to be careful. Xiao Xiao helped me a lot in Yinjing, and I promised to treat her to a meal. She's back now, so she called me. Tang Yin didn't ask for details, but Lin Yi still explained everything to her. Oh, of course, you should treat her to a meal. Tang Yin nodded with a smile. It's fine, go ahead. I'll eat in the cafeteria. All right, call me anytime if you need anything. Lin Yi reminded Tang Yin before leaving the cafeteria and walking towards the school gate. Lin Yi had a complicated feeling toward Xiao Xiao. To be honest, Lin Yi thought that Xiao Xiao was just a spoiled rich kid, but that time at the beach, Lin Yi realized that wasn't the case. Especially after knowing that she was Tianlong's daughter, Lin Yi's feelings toward Xiao Xiao became even more complicated. To be honest, Lin Yi felt pity for this girl. She didn't have a mother since she was young, and her father was always busy outside. This was what made her like this. After knowing Xiao Xiao's background, Lin Yi understood her, and he didn't hate her as much as he did before. This is a cheerful girl, full of enthusiasm for life. Only when you get close to her can you see her inner loneliness and sadness in some imperceptible details. Xiao Xiao was still driving her Audi TT. The car stopped beside Lin Yi, and she poked her head out from the driver's seat. Lin Yi, get in? Lin Yi didn't say anything. He walked over and opened the door, sitting in the front passenger seat. Hey, why the long face? Xiao Xiao was a little unhappy at Lin Yi's silence. Did I stop you from hitting on girls? I was just getting ready to eat with Tang Yun in the cafeteria. Lin Yi said. So I did, but you can hit on me. Who's prettier, me or Tang Yun? Xiao Xiao blinked her big eyes and turned to Lin Yi. Tang Yun. Lin Yi said. Xiao Xiao's smile turned frosty as she glared at Lin. Don't you know how to coax people? Can't you say something nice? Can't you even lie to me? Fine, you're prettier. Lin Yi said. Boring. Let's go eat. Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi's face that said, I'm lying, and her interest waned. Why couldn't she seduce Lin Yi? Why was she so much worse than Tang Yin? Xiao Xiao started the car, but didn't go very far. She parked the car in front of a beef noodle restaurant nearby. Lin Yi paused. He didn't think that Xiao Xiao would bring him to a place like this. The prices here weren't high, and when Xiao Xiao asked him to treat her to a meal, Lin Yi thought that she was going to rip him off like how she ripped off Wu Qintian. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao went into the noodle house and found a table for two. Can the two of you wait for a moment? I'll order for you right away. The waiter was standing in front of a table with a mother and daughter, ordering for them. All right, we'll take a look at the menu first. Lin Yi nodded nonchalantly and picked up the menu. Chapter 973. Eating a bowl of noodles, of course. The waiter nodded. He could see that the living conditions of the mother and daughter were not very good. It could be seen from their clothes. They were all old clothes that were out of season. Nowadays, few people in the city wore such simple clothes. Xiaoxi, can we just have one bowl? I can't eat that much. This bowl of noodles looks like a lot, the mother said to a 15 or 16-year-old girl beside her. She knew that her mother was reluctant to part with the money, but the doctor said that her mother was about to die. Coming here to eat beef noodles was her wish. Although she was frugal, she still gritted her teeth and said, just 2 bowls. Child, isn't a waste? The mother interrupted Chun Shi and said to the waiter, "Just one bowl. How much is it?" "Hello, a bowl of beef noodles. You spent a total of 15 kwai." The waiter sympathized with the mother and daughter, but he was also a part-time worker. His living conditions weren't much better than theirs, and he couldn't just give them a bowl of noodles. That would only make the boss deduct it from his salary. When a mother heard that a bowl of noodles cost 15 kwai, she looked distressed. Chun Shi, on the other hand, took out a stack of bills from her pocket, counted out 15 kwai, and gave it to the waiter. The waiter knew that it was not easy for the mother and daughter to earn this money, but he had no other way. He could only look at them sympathetically. He was going to secretly instruct the kitchen to make more noodles for them. This was the only thing he could do. "Xiao Shi, it's not easy for you to make money, and you still have to treat my illness. In the future, let's not waste it." Chun Shi's mother said softly, 15 kwai. How many noodles can we buy? It's enough for us to eat for many days." "Mom, today is my birthday. I said I'll make the decision." Chun Shi interrupted her mother and said with a smile, "After today, I'll be 16, an adult. I'll definitely make a lot of money in the future and take you out to eat every day." "Haha, okay, Mom will wait for you." The mother sighed in her heart. She didn't know if she could hold on until that day. Seeing that her daughter had grown up, she felt more at ease when she left. This noodle shop was an old one in the neighborhood. It had been open for a few years. When Chun Shi was young, she and her mother would pass by here, and they would look at the customers with envy. At that time, her mother would always tell Chun Shi that when she made money in the future, she would bring Chun Shi here to eat noodles. In the blink of an eye, Chun Shi had grown up, but her mother was found to have cancer. All of a sudden, Chun Shi's family, which wasn't well off to begin with, became strapped for cash. Her mother couldn't do her job anymore, so she could only rely on Chun Shi to pick up waste paper and drink bottles after school. Today was Chun Shi's 16th birthday, but Chun Shi wasn't happy at all, because just a few days ago, when her mother went to the hospital for a checkup, the doctor told her that her mother only had 1 or 2 months left and told her to prepare for a funeral. Chun Shi was stunned. Although she had expected this day to come, she didn't think it would come so soon. "Mom, are you leaving already?" Chun Shi was very sad, but she was afraid that her mother would suspect, so she had to pretend to be happy. Using birthday as an excuse, Chun Shi brought her mother to the noodle shop. In her mother's eyes, Chun Shi was still a child's willfulness, but Chun Shi knew that if she didn't bring her mother to eat noodles now, her mother might not be able to eat noodles here for the rest of her life. So Chun Shi spent a few nights, came home 2 hours late every day, took a bus to the beach to pick up drink bottles, and finally saved up 30 yuan. The goal was to eat beef noodles with her mother. She had already asked for the price in advance, 15 yuan a bowl. Although it was expensive for her, she felt it was worth it. Lin Yi's gaze swept across Chun Shi and her mother, and finally stopped on Chun Shi's mother. She was a haggard and slightly sick woman, although she had been tortured by the disease, but it could be seen that she must have been very beautiful when she was young. But, in Lin Yi's eyes, she probably didn't have long to live. As for the specific reason, Lin Yi didn't know. Without further examination, Lin Yi didn't know what illness she had. The girl called Chun. She was very pretty, probably like her mother when she was young. Although she was only 16, she was already very beautiful. Although her clothes were simple, they were very clean and tidy. This made Lin Yi think of Tang Yun, and it made his heart skip a beat. Lin Yi frowned. He didn't know when, but it seemed like he wasn't so cold anymore, like he liked to meddle in other people's business. Was it the environment here that changed him? Lin Yi realized that he had indeed left those bloody days far behind. He was starting to blend into this environment, and he even liked it here. The waiter walked over, and Lin Yi retracted his gaze and looked at Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao's eyes had been on the mother and daughter the whole time, evidently feeling a little emotional as well. "Hello, would you two like to order now?" The waiter asked. "We want a bowl of beef noodles too." Xiao Xiao didn't wait for Lin Yi to speak. She got the idea from the mother and daughter. Eating a bowl of noodles with Lin Yi would help improve their relationship. "Oh, okay." The waiter paused and nodded. It wasn't unusual for a couple to share a bowl of noodles, but it was just a coincidence that the mother and daughter had ordered a bowl of noodles and Xiao Xiao had ordered a bowl of noodles as well. Just one bowl? You're not eating? Linny frowned as he looked at Xiao Xiao. Of course I'm eating. Xiao Xiao almost exploded after hearing Lin Yi's words. You're treating me to noodles, all right? You're asking me if I'm eating? Why would I ask you to treat me if I'm not eating? Oh, 2 bowls then, Lin Yi said faintly to the waiter. Yes, sir. The waiter smiled. It seemed that either Lin Yi didn't know how to flirt or Xiao Xiao was overthinking things. These two might not be a couple. They might be a girl chasing a guy. Xiao Xiao was a little unhappy. I can't eat. The noodles here are too big. Then tell him to put less, Lin Yi said. Am I stupid? Xiao Xiao was so angry that she didn't say anything. She waved at the waiter angrily, telling him to leave. Chapter 974. Not much time after a while, the mother and daughter's beef noodles were served. The noodles in the bowl were piled high, and there was a shocking amount of beef on top. Please enjoy your meal. The waiter placed 2 pairs of chopsticks in front of Chun Shi and her daughter's table, then quietly retreated. The noodles here are so good. No wonder it's so expensive. The mother looked at the beef noodles in surprise. This is enough for the 2 of us. Yeah, Chun Shi smiled bitterly inwardly. The waiter must have asked the kitchen to make this for them, right? After all, there weren't many customers right now, but when Chun Shi came for inspection, she'd check the amount of noodles. How could there be so much? Now it was more than half. There were a lot more pieces of beef, too. This bowl of noodles probably cost 15 kwai. Chun Shi looked at the busy waiter gratefully and passed the chopsticks to her mother. Mom, let's eat. Sure, eat. Shi, you eat first. The mother looked at Chun Shi lovingly. It's so good. Chun Shi knew that her mother wouldn't eat if she didn't. So she took a bite and pushed the noodles to her mother. It was really, really good, but the more Chun Shi liked it, the more she didn't want to eat it. She wanted to save it for her mother. She could eat it whenever she wanted. She still had time to grow, but her mother, no wonder there's so many people here, it's really good. Chun Shi's mother nodded in satisfaction after taking a bite. Shi, you're still growing? Eat more meat. Mom, you eat too. Chun Shi didn't want to eat it, so she put a small piece of beef in her mouth and a big piece of beef in her mother's mouth. Look, there's a lot of noodles here, isn't there? Xiao Xiao pointed at the mother and daughter as she spoke to Lin Yi. Are you really dumb, or are you just pretending? Lin Yi asked. Xiao Xiao almost jumped on the table and stepped on Lin Yi. Why were you so mean to me? Yushu always asks stupid questions. Why didn't you ask her if she was really dumb or just pretending? Xiao Xiao, what are you trying to do? Why do I feel like something's wrong with you? Lin Yi looked at Xiao Xiao. What's wrong with me? I don't want to do anything. I told you. I like you. I want to pursue you. Xiao Xiao said. Lin Yi shook his head. There was nothing he could do if Xiao Xiao didn't want to tell the truth. On the other side, Chun Shi was still sharing the same bowl of noodles with her mother. Her mother's eyes were still filled with love, and she kept telling Chun Shi to eat more. But the more it was like this, the sadder Chun Shi felt. Tears flowed down uncontrollably. She was afraid that her mother would see it, so she quickly stood up and ran in the direction of the bathroom. As she walked, she said, I'm going to the bathroom, Mom. You eat first, eh? Why is she crying? Xiao Xiao was paying attention to Chun Shi's every move. She was confused when she saw Chun Shi crying. Her mother is dying, Lin Yi said faintly. What? Xiao Xiao almost stood up from her seat. You're saying that her mom's dying? Are you serious? Look at her mother's face. It's obvious that she's dying. She probably doesn't have much time left, Lin Yi said. You can tell that her mother doesn't have much time left with just one look? Xiao Xiao didn't believe it. Bien Ke saw Kai Huan Gong and left. That's the same logic. Lin Yi said. Sometimes, you can tell how long someone has left with just one look. Then how long do you think I have left? Xiao Xiao's heart skipped a beat. She didn't show it on her face, but she was really nervous inside. You? I can't tell that you're dying. Lin Yi thought that Xiao Xiao was joking, so he didn't mind. Oh, Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed that Lin Yi didn't take her seriously at all. At that moment, Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao's beef noodles were served as well, but the difference was like heaven and earth compared to Chen Shi's. 2 bowls here was about the same amount as 1 bowl. See? Is 1 bowl enough? Lin Yi smiled. It's enough. I don't eat much. Xiao Xiao said stubbornly, who ate so much that they couldn't even walk. Lin Yi couldn't help but think of the time Xiao Xiao ate seafood in Yanjing. She was so full she was like a crab, walking sideways. That's because I wanted to eat that iron fist wu por. Xiao Xiao blushed. As the two were talking, something happened to Chen Shi. Chen Shi was afraid that her mother would see her crying, so she wanted to go to the bathroom quickly. She didn't know that as soon as she got up, she bumped into a customer who had just entered the noodle house. The customer was lighting a cigarette with a lighter, and Chen Shi turned around and knocked the lighter in his hand to the ground. Motherfucker, little girl, don't you have eyes? Do you even know how to walk? The man was furious when Chen Shi knocked the lighter to the ground. I'm sorry. Chen Shi jumped and quickly bent down to pick up the lighter. I'm returning it to you. I'm really sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Sorry? You just sorry? Do you know what brand this lighter is? Zippo. You dropped the paint on it. Can you afford it? The man grinned and glared at Chen Shi. Chen Shi didn't think that she would get into trouble just by turning around. She didn't know if the man was telling the truth, but she was in the wrong. She lowered her head. I'm sorry. Cut the bullshit. Hurry up and pay up. The man slammed the table, and with a bang, the beef noodles in front of Chen Shi's mother hit the ground. It shattered, and the soup and noodles spilled all over the floor. Chen Shi didn't think that this man would be so unreasonable. She had already apologized, and not only did he not accept it, he even knocked over her beef noodles. This was the noodles she had spent a lot of effort to buy for her mother. Thinking of this, Chen Shi couldn't help but cry. I'm sorry, big bro. The child doesn't know any better. How much is the lighter? I'll pay you. Chen Shi's mother didn't think that this would happen. The mother and daughter were happily eating noodles, and now they were in trouble. 5,000. The man humped coldly. Hurry up and pay up, or I'll call the police and sue her for deliberately destroying other people's property. Chapter 975. Chapter 973. Xiao Xiao's idea. What did you think? This is Zippo, an international brand. Have you ever seen it on TV? This brand of lighter is used in movies. The man raised his lighter and shouted. But isn't this lighter fine? It doesn't have to be 5,000, right? Chen Shi's mother asked carefully, her eyes filled with shock. Fine? How am I supposed to use it if the paint is peeling off? I'm a high-class person living in the upper class. How can I take a lighter that's peeling off? The man himphed coldly, slamming the lighter on the table beside the mother and daughter. If you can use it, I'll give it to you. Hurry up and give me 5,000. Don't bullshit. There weren't many customers in the restaurant at this time, because it was already 1 in the afternoon when Lin Yi saw Xiao Xiao. It was just past lunchtime. But even if there were customers here, who would care about this? The waiter of the beef noodle shop, although he didn't like the man and sympathized with Chen Shi and her mother, he also knew that disputes between customers had nothing to do with their shop. At this time, the best choice was not to interfere. Xiao Xiao frowned, thinking that this man was really despicable. She had always sympathized with Chen Shi. She lost her mother when she was young, and now Chen Shi was about to lose her mother as well. This made Xiao Xiao feel like they were in the same boat, and she couldn't help but like Chen Shi. Now that this man was making things difficult for the mother and daughter, she was furious. And so Xiao Xiao stood up, and before the man could react, she grabbed the lighter from the table. Let me see. What kind of lighter is worth 5,000? Who are you? Mind your own business. The man frowned, not expecting someone to suddenly appear out of nowhere. But seeing how fashionable Xiao Xiao was, he didn't dare mess with her. After all, he only picked on people who were easy to bully. As far as I know, Zippo is an international brand, but the price ranges from high to low. The cheapest one is only a few dozen kuai, and yours. Xiao Xiao picked up the man's lighter and looked at it before saying faintly, This is a Zip, not a Zippo. It's a knockoff, not even worth a few dozen kuai. Nonsense. The man's face reddened at Xiao Xiao's words, and his embarrassment turned into anger as he reached out to grab the lighter from Xiao Xiao's hand. But who was Xiao Xiao? He was the weakest of the big four young thugs. How could she be afraid of someone who dared to set off firecrackers on Lin Yi's? But he casually lit the lighter. As a result, when the man grabbed it, the lighter burned his hand and ignited his sleeve. Ah, fuck me. The man started waving his arms around, finally putting out the fire on his sleeves. His eyes were filled with rage, and he'd lost his mind. He raised his hand, wanting to slap Xiao Xiao. At this moment, Xiao Xiao jumped in fright. But what she was thinking was, could Lin Yi save her? Lin Yi, naturally, wouldn't let Xiao Xiao get bullied. The next moment, the man's hand was grabbed tightly by Lin Yi. Dude, let go of me. The man was a bit scared after being grabbed by Lin Yi. The pain in his hand told him that Lin Yi wasn't someone to be messed with. He was someone who bullied the weak and feared the strong. And it was only because Chunshi was dressed like a country bumpkin that he thought she was easy to bully. But now, Lin Yi clearly wasn't someone to be messed with. He was a little scared. Do you know who I am? I'm very familiar with Guangbro in the North District. Don't mind your own business. Who's Guangbro? Lin Yi paused. Zhou Wang Guangbro. The man thought that Lin Yi didn't know, so he added, he's the boss of the North District. Zhou Wang. Why does that name sound so familiar? Xiao Xiao interrupted. The moment Lin Yi made his move, Xiao Xiao felt a bit of sweetness in her heart. Lin Yi still cared about her. He still cared about her. His attitude towards her was a bit cold, but if something really happened to her, he wouldn't just stand by and watch. Oh, just an idiot, Lin Yi said. He has a retarded brother called Zhou Ruoming. You know him? Oh, Zhou Ruoming. I thought he knew someone strong. Xiao Xiao let out a breath of relief when she heard that it was Zhou Ruoming's brother. Ugh, the man didn't know what to do. He thought that he'd bring up someone strong and Lin Yi would give in. But he didn't expect Lin Yi to know someone. Who else do you know? If you don't know anyone, then you can leave. Lin Yi let go of the man's hand, not caring about him at all. The man hesitated for a moment before running out of the beef noodle shop. Evidently, he felt that he was no match for Lin Yi, and it was best to run away. Thank you guys so much. Chun-Shi's mother thought that she'd have to pay a huge debt before she died, and in her moment of despair, someone stood up for her and her daughter. Luckily, these two were knowledgeable and saw through the man's scam, and they even managed to scare him away. Otherwise, the mother and daughter wouldn't know what to do. Thank you, big bro, big sis. Chun-Shi wiped her tears and bowed politely to Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao. It's nothing, Xiao Xiao said. Just be careful next time. Okay. Chun-Shi nodded gratefully, but when she saw the broken beef noodles on the floor, she couldn't help but feel pained. She turned to her mother. Mom, can we get another bowl? No, we've already tasted it. We know how it tastes. Don't waste money. Chun-Shi's mother, naturally, didn't want her daughter to spend more money. I haven't touched this bowl yet. I can't eat it anymore. You guys can have it. Xiao Xiao rolled her eyes and gave her bowl of beef noodles to the mother and daughter. That's not okay. Chun-Shi's mother paused and quickly rejected. I want to share a bowl with him. Ani, didn't you hear it? Xiao Xiao whispered in Chun-Shi's mother's ear. Just do me a favor, okay? Chun-Shi's mother did hear that Xiao Xiao wanted to share a bowl of noodles with Lin Yi, so she didn't suspect anything when Xiao Xiao said this, but she couldn't say yes, and she couldn't say no either. If she said yes, she'd be taking something from them for free, but if she didn't say yes, they'd already asked for a favor, and they'd just done her a huge favor. How could she say no? Chapter 976. Teeth clenching. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Xiao Xiao's actions made it hard for Lin Yi to decide if he should support her or oppose her. He could say that she was trying so hard to have a bowl of noodles with him, but her actions were just in the nick of time, and he couldn't stop her from helping someone else, could he? Lin Yi could only chalk it up to coincidence. Looking at the smiling Xiao Xiao in front of him, Lin Yi waved at the waiter faintly. Waiter, please bring me another bowl. Yes, sir. The waiter was just cleaning up the broken bowls when he heard Lin Yi's words. What do you want an empty bowl for? Xiao Xiao blinked. I'll give you half of the beef noodles. Lin, he took the empty bowl the waiter handed him and started using his chopsticks to put the beef noodles into the empty bowl. Xiao Xiao glared at Lin Yi, her eyes watery. She was on the verge of tears. She'd finally found a chance to eat noodles with Lin Yi just now, and she'd almost died from happiness. But now Lin Yi was giving her another empty bowl. Lin Yi didn't pay attention to her, giving her half of his beef noodles before lowering his head and eating first. Xiao Xiao stuck her chopsticks in the bowl as if she had a deep grudge against the beef noodles, gritting her teeth and shoving the noodles into her mouth like a hungry wolf. You're that hungry? Should we order another bowl, then? Lin Yi couldn't help but smile as he looked at Xiao Xiao. No. Xiao Xiao shook her head and looked at Lin Yi hatefully. I'm not eating with you anymore. You're a bully. Ugh. Lin Yi felt a little uncomfortable as he looked at Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi felt that it was normal for Xiao Xiao to threaten him, but now it was as if Xiao Xiao had really been wronged. It made Lin Yi's heart ache, and he wanted to say something before sighing softly. Xiao Xiao saw that Lin Yi wasn't talking, so she pouted and went back to eating the noodles, as if the noodles were Lin Yi's tendons and the beef was his flesh, gritting her teeth as she ate. It didn't take long for him to finish half a bowl of noodles in front of him, and Xiao Xiao was almost done as well. You're full? Let's go back to school then. Lin Yi asked after Xiao Xiao put down her chopsticks. Let's go back, Xiao Xiao said coldly, evidently still pissed off. Lin Yi smiled and ignored her. Xiao Xiao was like that, and she'd be fine after a while. The two were about to leave when they heard a panicked call from behind them. Mom, what's wrong? Why did you faint all of a sudden? Chun-Shi and her mom were eating noodles, and while they weren't in a good mood, they were actually a little heavy. But in order to thank Xiao Xiao, they couldn't just leave like that. That would be disrespectful. After all, Xiao Xiao had good intentions. So the mother and daughter decided to secretly give Xiao Xiao 15 kuai after they finished their noodles. Chun-Shi and her mom weren't people who took things from others for free. They were poor, but Chun-Shi used her own labor every day, picking up trash on the beach, streets, and alleyways. She didn't earn much, but it was still her labor. But before the two could finish their noodles, Chun-Shi's mom fainted on the table, and Chun-Shi didn't know what to do. After all, her mom was sick, but she'd never fainted before. Even if she went to the hospital, it was with the mother and daughter. Quick, call the ambulance. The waiter was experienced, and he quickly reminded them. Okay. Chun-Shi nodded and said, who can lend me their phone for a while? She didn't have a phone, and while it wasn't expensive, she couldn't afford it. Use mine. Xiao Xiao didn't care about getting mad at Lin Yi anymore. She took out her phone and gave it to Chun-Shi. Seeing the panic in Chun-Shi's eyes, Xiao Xiao remembered her lonely and sad childhood. How lonely was it without her mom by her side? No need. Sending her to the hospital won't help. Don't waste money, Lin Yi said faintly as he looked at Chun-Shi's mother. Chun-Shi's life was fading away quickly. Basically, there was no hope. Chun-Shi heard Lin Yi's words, and her expression froze for a moment. Then, tears flowed down her face, and she hugged her mom, crying out loud. Although it was her 16th birthday today, she was still a fragile girl. She knew that her mom would leave her soon, but she didn't think it would be this soon. When her mother fainted, Chun-Shi still had a sliver of hope in her heart, hoping that her mother would wake up after reaching the hospital. But Lin Yi's words were like a bucket of cold water, pouring it all over her head, plunging her into despair. At that moment, she felt so helpless. She didn't know what to do. The only thing she could do was hug her mom and cry out loud. That was the only way she could vent the pain in her heart. What's wrong with you? Who talks like that? Lin Yi's words made the waiter unhappy. Who do you think you are? You could decide someone's life and death with just one sentence? He turned his head and looked at the waiter faintly. This person had a good heart. From the beginning to the end, he didn't look down on Chun-Shi and her mother, so he wouldn't vent his anger on him. What he said now was just anger because he didn't know the truth. Why would Lin Yi bother with him? Seeing he turned his head, the waiter was shocked. He remembered that he had just chased away the troublemaker, and he was a little scared. But Lin Yi's words were indeed unpleasant, so the waiter only took a step back and insisted, "Don't listen to his nonsense. Hurry up and send her to the hospital. I'll call the ambulance right now." Lin Yi, is there really no hope for her? After Lin Yi saved her last time, Xiao Xiao knew that Lin Yi knew medicine, so she couldn't help but believe Lin Yi's words. At that moment, Lin Yi's hand was already on Chun Shi's wrist. He didn't explain much to the waiter and only said to Xiao Xiao, "Terminal liver cancer. What do you think the hospital can do?" Xiao Xiao's face froze. Cancer, one of the incurable diseases of the century. Even people who didn't know medicine would basically think that this person was already sentenced to death when they heard the word cancer. Lin Yi's words stunned Chun Shi. Her eyes were wide open, staring at Lin Yi without blinking. Chapter 977. No matter what, but only Chun Shi knew that Lin Yi wasn't just talking nonsense. She was shocked because Lin Yi was able to identify her mother's illness as soon as he opened his mouth, and it was accurate to the late stage of liver cancer. She had brought her mother to see both Eastern and Western medicine before, and she had seen this method of diagnosis, but she had never seen someone like Lin Yi who could accurately identify the illness in just a few seconds. In an instant, Chun Shi understood that this big brother who helped her before was a miracle doctor. If he could identify her mother's illness, could he save her? You can save my mother, right? If you can identify my mother's illness, then there must be a way. Chun Shi didn't care about the fact that men and women shouldn't touch each other. She grabbed Lin Yi's hand and said urgently, "Please, I beg you, save my mother, no matter what it takes." Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. In the past, he wouldn't be moved by the joys and sorrows of separation and reunion. But now, was he the one who had changed? Chun Shi's words made the waiter's jaw drop. He didn't think that Lin Yi would actually be able to identify Chun Shi's mother's illness. And from the looks of it, Lin Yi really was a doctor. So what he said before was all true? At the thought, the waiter felt a little ashamed. It was all his fault for being too impulsive, scolding Lin Yi without any reason. "Lin Yi, do you have a way?" Xiao Xiao knew how painful it was to lose her mother. When she saw Chun Shi, she thought of herself. So if there was a way, she wouldn't give up. If it was just discovered, then it's possible. Lin Yi hesitated and said, "But now, it's a little troublesome." Chun Shi was a little disappointed when she heard the first half of Lin Yi's sentence. But the second half of Lin Yi's sentence made her eyes light up, because Lin Yi said it was troublesome, not that there was no way. Troublesome meant that although it was difficult, there was still a way. At the thought, Chun Shi subconsciously kneeled in front of Lin Yi. "Miracle Dr. Bro, please save my mother. I'm willing to pay any price." Xiao Xiao was just testing the waters when she asked, but she didn't expect Lin Yi to give a definite answer. Xiao Xiao knew Lin Yi's character very well. If Lin Yi didn't agree, then he would do everything he could. So Xiao Xiao let out a breath of relief. If he said there was a way, then there must be a way. With that thought, Xiao Xiao relaxed a little. She couldn't help but joke with Chun Shi. "He saved your mom, so why don't you be his lover?" Chun Shi blinked and blushed. Naturally, she knew what it meant to be a mistress. What she had to do was the same as selling herself. When Chun Shi was desperate and had no money, she thought about selling herself for her mother's treatment. But she wasn't stupid. She knew that her mother's illness couldn't be cured. The doctor made it very clear that no matter how much money was spent, it would only slow down the time of death. It was impossible to cure it. Therefore, Chun Shi understood that even if she sold herself for her mother's treatment, it would only last for a while. If her mother found out what she had done, she might even die from anger. Liver cancer was not something that could be easily provoked, so the loss would outweigh the gain. But now Lin Yi gave her hope. From Lin Yi's tone, Chun Shi could tell that Lin Yi had a way. The reason why she believed that Lin Yi had a way was because Lin Yi was able to tell her mother's illness as soon as he opened his mouth. Out of all the doctors she had seen for her mother, he was the only one who could tell her mother's illness so quickly. So even though She felt that Xiao Xiao's request was a little too much, she didn't have time to think about it. She nodded impulsively. All right, as long as it can cure my mother, then I'll do anything. She still couldn't say the 3 words lover, because these 3 words, to someone as pure as water, were really a bit hard to say. But She wasn't an idiot. She believed in Lin Yi, but she couldn't do anything with him before he cured her mother's illness. One, she wasn't in the mood, and the other, she was afraid that Lin Yi would lie to her. Although Lin Yi didn't seem like a scammer, she still had to be cautious. If he really could cure her mother's illness, then she would have no regrets. Today was her birthday, and she was an adult. She could make her own decision. Lin Yi listened to the conversation between Xiao Xiao and Shi, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He knew that Xiao Xiao was just messing around, but Shi took it for real. The waiter of the restaurant felt that Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were taking advantage of the situation, and he felt that there was something wrong with this girl. She clearly liked Lin Yi, and he hadn't even gotten her yet. Why was she trying to be a matchmaker? Was she crazy? But this was someone else's business. What did it have to do with a waiter like him? All he could do was to do his part well. Lin Yi smiled. She's just joking with you. You're too young. You haven't even matured yet. Why would I want you as a mistress? Lin Yi's words were a bit of a blow to Shi's confidence, but he was saying it to make Shi give up on the idea. Lin Yi thought that Shi was a pretty and cute girl, but it wasn't to the point where he wanted her to be his mistress. Wasn't it messy enough with Xiao Xiao? If he made another mistress, Tang Yun wouldn't be happy about it, and the miss would be pissed as well. Who said I haven't matured? Shi heard Lin Yi's words, and her face turned bright red. She had always been confident in her looks, and even if her body wasn't particularly outstanding, it was still quite developed for her age. But Lin Yi looked down on her for being young and not maturing. Naturally, Shi misunderstood that Lin Yi looked down on her, and that he didn't want to help her. Shi was desperate to save her mother, and she couldn't care less about her shyness. She puffed up her chest in front of Lin Yi. How am I young? Even if I haven't matured, I'll continue to grow. Lin Yi was taken aback by Shi's actions, and he shook his head. You're too young. I just turned 16 today. I'm an adult now. Plus, I can still grow up. Shi said hurriedly. By the time you grow up, your mother will be long dead. Lin Yi smiled. Chapter 978. Brother Miracle Doctor. All right, you don't have to do anything. Lin Yi shrugged. Let go of me first. I'll take a look at your mother. Oh, okay. Shi realized that she was still holding on to Lin Yi's hand. It was the first time she held the hand of a man of the opposite sex. She couldn't help but blush. Thinking of what she said before, she was even more shy. What did he mean when he said that he didn't have to do anything? Did he not want her to be his lover? Or did he mean that he was going to save her mother and didn't want her to intervene? She didn't know, but Lin Yi was already busy. Lin Yi took out the silver needle box and took out the silver needles from it. He quickly inserted a few needles into Mother Chen's body. Don't you need to disinfect? Although she believed in Lin Yi, she also knew that if the silver needles weren't disinfected, there might be a bacterial infection. It's already been disinfected, Lin Yi said faintly, but he didn't explain how he disinfected it. When Lin Yi used the silver needles without alcohol or other disinfectants, he would use his own qi to disinfect the silver needles. The heat generated by the qi was enough to kill any bacteria. Oh, Shi thought that Lin Yi disinfected the silver needles before carrying them on his body, so she didn't ask much. Cancer was something that Lin Yi couldn't heal with energy, but if it was in the early stages of cancer, as long as the cancer cells didn't spread, he could use energy to repair the damaged liver after removing a large area of the liver and achieve the goal of curing it. But now the cancer cells had already spread. Lin Yi couldn't use this method at all. He could only use the second, more troublesome method. He used the silver needles to seal several major acupuncture points on Mother Chen's body to prevent the cancer cells from continuing to spread. Then, Lin Yi would use his body's energy to help Mother Chen recover her vitality. Then, he would use traditional Chinese medicine to completely kill the cancer cells. In the world, there were many precedents of traditional Chinese medicine curing cancer. Although it was rare, it wasn't impossible. Lin Yi was proficient in ancient prescriptions and pharmacology. If he wanted to cure Mother Chen's illness, there was no problem at all. It was just that the process was more troublesome. He had to change different drugs according to the effect of each course of treatment. Finally, he could achieve the effect of a full recovery. The duration of this process varied from person to person. It could be very fast, or it could take years. However, with the existence of Lin Yi's energy, Mother Chen's vitality could be continuously restored by the cancerous cells until she was completely healed. However, Lin Yi had to treat Mother Chen every once in a while. This was a continuous process, and it was better to heal it all at once in the early stages. Lin Yi activated the art of dragon mastery and began to transfer energy to Mrs. Chen. Chen Shi, Xiao Xiao, and the waiter all held their breaths as they looked at Lin Yi. They didn't know what effect these silver needles would have, but when they saw Lin Yi's professional technique, they were full of trust in Lin Yi. Ugh, what happened to me? Mother Chen woke up. She touched her forehead and woke up in a daze. She opened her eyes tiredly and looked around. When she saw everyone around her and her daughter's teary face, she couldn't help but be stunned. This is, Mom, you're awake. She didn't think that her mother would wake up again. She was really afraid that her mother would never wake up again once she fainted. But Lin Yi really woke her mother up. While she was happy, she was also secretly grateful to Lin Yi. She also made up her mind that no matter what Lin Yi wanted her to do, she would agree. I was a little sleepy just now. Did I fall asleep? Mother Chen looked down and suddenly realized that there were silver needles in her body. She was shocked. This is, Mom, you fainted just now. Thanks to this miracle Dr. Bro who saved you. She looked at Lin Yi and said to her mother. However, her eyes fell on Lin Yi and her face was a little red. I fainted. Mother Chen was stunned and then quickly thanked Lin. Thank you. Thank you so much. I didn't expect to trouble you again. It's nothing. Lin Yi shook his head and put away the silver needles. I only temporarily stabilized the cancer cells in your body, but it doesn't mean that you're cured. Where's your home? Let's walk and talk. There were outsiders in the beef noodle restaurant. Lin Yi didn't want the news of him being able to cure cancer spread. Otherwise, he was afraid that in the future, he wouldn't need to do anything and everyone would come to him for treatment. No matter how powerful Lin Yi was, he was only one person. Moreover, he used the art of dragon mastery to cure cancer. This matter couldn't be replicated or promoted. Lin Yi didn't want to break the current medical status quo because he alone was powerless. Mother Chen didn't say anything. The smart Chen, she probably also understood Lin Yi's intention. First, he wanted to keep it a secret. And second, was he going to her house to find out who it was? Was he afraid that she wouldn't give it to him after he cured her mother? Brother Miracle Doctor, please come with me. She nodded, helped her mother up, and walked towards the door without any explanation. Mother Chen didn't want her daughter to tell strangers her home address, but it had been so many years since that incident. That woman couldn't have found this place that coincidentally, and it was even more impossible for her to know Lin Yi, so she didn't say anything. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao left the beef noodle restaurant. The waiter shook his head, thinking that Lin Yi couldn't wait to get Chun-Chi's body and complete the deal. Miracle Bro, my house is this way. Chun-Chi walked out the door and gestured to the right. Get in the car, we drove here. Lin Yi pointed at Xiao Xiao's Audi TT. Although it was a sports car, it had the same back seat space as a Beetle. It was a bit troublesome to sit in, but it was okay to sit there temporarily. Mother Chen saw that they were going to get in the car and started to hesitate. She didn't know who Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were. Although Lin Yi woke her up, she still had her guard up against strangers. But she didn't suspect anything. She nodded and pulled her mother to get in the car. She saw the miracle happen with her own eyes. Lin Yi used his medical skills to wake her mother up. So Chun-Chi trusted Lin Yi unconditionally. Mother Chen saw her daughter's insistence, and the two young men in front of her helped her family twice. She really didn't want to say anything in front of them. Mother Chen hesitated and followed Chun Shi into the car. Chapter 979. I won't go back on my words. They came out of the beef noodle shop together, and the waiters and customers all saw them. Xiao Xiao's car was parked in front of the noodle shop as well, and there were 24-hour surveillance cameras here. If something really happened to her and her daughter, the police would be able to find them easily. With that thought, Mrs. Chun felt a lot more at ease. She felt that Lin, Yi, and Xiao Xiao weren't bad people. Although they helped him twice, it was impossible for it to be premeditated. Even if the man who picked up the trouble was found by them to target his mother and daughter, how could they know that he would faint later? After getting in the car, Lin Yi dispelled Mrs. Chen's suspicions with just one sentence. "There's a pharmacy up ahead. Xiao Xiao, stop for a bit. I'll go get some medicine." Lin Yi said to Xiao Xiao. Okay. Xiao Xiao was looking forward to curing Chun-Shi's mother as well. So when Lin Yi said that, she agreed without thinking and stopped the car in front of the pharmacy. "I'll go buy medicine with you," Chun-Shi said quickly when she saw Lin Yi get out of the car. How could she let Lin Yi spend money to buy medicine? She was already very grateful that he was treating her mother, so she planned to spend the money herself. "No need, you don't have enough money," Lin Yi said faintly. "If you want to pay me back, you can do it later." Since Lin Yi had decided to help, he would help her to the end. Chun-Shi didn't have enough money to buy medicine, but if she insisted on paying him back in the future, Lin Yi wouldn't reject her. But Lin Yi's words made Chun-Shi misunderstand. She heard Lin Yi's words and thought that Lin Yi wanted her to pay him back in other ways, so she blushed again. She didn't insist on getting out of the car, but said firmly, "Okay, I'll pay you back slowly." Huh? Lin Yi didn't think that Chun-Shi would think so much. Without much thought, he got out of the car. He didn't let Chun-Shi get off the car with him. First, Chun-Shi didn't have enough money, and second, Lin Yi didn't want the formula to be leaked. He didn't have enough trust in a stranger like Chun-Shi. Although the prescription would change according to each person, if Lin Yi's prescription fell into the hands of a medical expert, it would be a valuable asset. Lin Yi did not have the habit of giving benefits to others for free. When Lin Yi entered the pharmacy, he didn't need to write down a prescription. He directly bought some medicinal ingredients and then used the pharmacy's equipment to grind all the medicinal ingredients into powder. Then, he divided them into several small packages and packed them. The reason why he chose this kind of small private pharmacy was that the boss and the waiters here were the same. They didn't keep a record of the medicine they sold and directly gave it to Lin Yi. This kind of private pharmacy usually checked the inventory manually every once in a while and then replenished the stock. There was no sales software. Soon, Lin Yi came out of the pharmacy and returned to the car. He handed a bag of Chinese medicine to Chun-Shi and said, "1 bag in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Take it with boiled water. In the first few days, it will be accompanied by strong diarrhea. After that, the symptoms will gradually reduce. At first, the feces will be black and smelly. Later, the color will become lighter and closer to normal. When it is completely normal, you can stop the medicine and then immediately contact me for the next course of treatment. These medicine bags can only be more." Lin Yi quickly explained the method of taking the medicine and the possible symptoms to Chun-Shi and Mother Chen. Okay. Chun-Shi carefully remembered every word that Lin Yi said for fear of missing something. After she understood, she quickly nodded and said, "I'll remember it. Where's your house? I'll send you back. I still have things to do." Lin Yi said and didn't say anything else. "It's in front, that neighborhood." She pointed to a neighborhood that looked very old, not far away. Xiao Xiao turned the car and drove into the district. This was probably a family compound of some company or unit. The height of the buildings were different, and the specifications were different. Evidently, they were built at different times. This kind of situation was completely different from those districts that were built with a unified plan. "Which building?" Xiao Xiao asked. "It's the one in front." Chun-Shi pointed at a red brick building that looked the most broken. It's there, Unit 3, Room 402. We won't go up. When the symptoms disappear, or when your mom faints again, call me. Lin, he didn't have any intention of going up as a guest. He just gave Chun-Shi a phone number. Okay, thank you, Miracle Dr. Bro. Chun-Shi quickly remembered Lin Yi's number. She had a complicated feeling in her heart. Lin, he didn't make any unreasonable demands on her. She let out a sigh of relief. It seemed like he wanted to wait until her mom was completely cured before he wanted her. But if he did that, would he be afraid that she would regret it later and not treat her mom with care? With that thought, Chun-Shi waited for her mom to get out of the car. Then, she leaned down and whispered to Lin, who was about to get into the car. I won't regret the conditions from before. Lin paused. He understood what Chun-Shi was talking about. He wanted to explain, but Chun-Shi stood up straight and stood next to her mom. Lin didn't say anything else. He just shook his head. Sir, thank you. Mother Chen looked at Lin gratefully. She had 1,000 words in her heart, but she couldn't express them at that moment. After she got sick, she went to many hospitals. Most of the doctors told her honestly that with her financial situation, she should give up treatment. If she wanted treatment, it would cost a lot of money. But Lin treated her for free. He even said that he could cure her. This made Mother Chen happy, but at the same time, her heart was filled with deep regret. Before, she was still on guard, afraid that Lin had ulterior motives. But when he came here, he didn't even go upstairs. What was he planning? Lin glanced at Mother Chen, but didn't say anything. He only said to Xiao Xiao, let's go. Oh, okay. Xiao Xiao didn't think that after helping Chun-Shi and her mother, Lin Yi's attitude was still so cold. She couldn't help but feel bored. Chapter 980. Chapter 978. Miracle Doctor. He's thanking you, so why aren't you listening? Aren't you doing a good deed for nothing? Xiao Xiao couldn't help but ask. They have nothing to do with me in the first place. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have helped them, Lin Yi said faintly. Then you're just going to do nothing? Xiao Xiao paused after hearing Lin Yi's words. Do you even have a kind heart? It's not that I'm not doing nothing. It's that I can't deal with it. Lin Yi shrugged. Can Hua Tua cure an entire generation of people? I have my own things to do, so I don't have to do anything else. But there was one thing that Lin didn't say out loud. That is, what is kindness? Did assassins and mercenaries have a kind heart? In many situations, their employers were different, and so they looked at things from different angles. It was hard to tell who was right and who was wrong when two forces were at odds. Just like in North Africa, many of Lin Yi's enemies were working for their employers. How could they tell who was right and who was wrong? How could there be a kind heart in that place? Kindness to the enemy was cruelty to oneself. But after returning to the bustling city, Lin, he had to admit that he had really changed. His sense of good and evil had become more and more obvious. He was becoming more and more like a normal person. Lin didn't know if this was good or bad, but what happened today might just be the beginning. Lin, he said that he didn't care, but Lin, he had decided to do it all the way in his heart. It was hard to explain the changes in one's mentality sometimes. Oh, Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed at Lin Yi's words, but she was also a little happy. Did Lin Yi help her today? Did that mean that she had a place in his heart now? Did her hard work bear fruit? Was this a sign that Lin Yi had fallen in love with her? I helped you today, so we don't owe each other anything. I hope you won't threaten me with the photos in the future. Xiao Xiao's happiness didn't last long before Lin Yi poured a bucket of cold water on her. Xiao Xiao's happiness disappeared in an instant. Fine. What's the big deal? Xiao Xiao pissed off. You're just scared that I'll show it to Tang Yan, right? I won't let her see it. Seeing Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao's car leave, Mrs. Chun was a little surprised. She could tell that Lin Yi helped her, but his attitude was a little cold. She didn't understand. Lin Yi was doing a good deed, but why didn't he have the attitude of a good deed? Chun-Shi shook her head, temporarily getting rid of those unrealistic thoughts, and then changed to a smiling face to her mother. Mom, we met a good person and also a miracle doctor. Brother Miracle Doctor said, he can cure your illness. You can finally recover. I hope so. Mrs. Chun didn't expect her illness to be cured. She was older, and she had more experience than Chen Shi. Naturally, she knew what her illness was. Even the private doctors of that man's house wouldn't be able to cure cancer, let alone normal doctors, right? She and her daughter, on the other hand, met a random person who could cure their cancer. Their mother and daughter's luck aside, this person's medical skills were too amazing. How could they meet someone like this so easily? However, Mother Chen also knew that she didn't have long to live. Seeing that her daughter was so happy, she had no choice but to try. This medicine couldn't cure her illness. No matter how bad it was, she would just die from eating it. She was gonna die anyway, so why not give it a try? She could give her daughter hope and make her happy. She held her mother's hand and went upstairs happily. They bumped into Grandpa Zhu, who was picking up trash from next door. Grandpa Zhu, are you going to the beach tonight? She smiled and greeted Grandpa Zhu. Grandpa Zhu was a lonely old man who lived next door to Chen Shi and her daughter. During the day, he collected trash to make a living, and at night, he would go to some seaside beaches and other bustling areas to collect some drink bottles and waste paper shells. Since Chen Shi's mother got sick, Grandpa Zhu took Chen Shi to collect trash, and he didn't want any of the things he picked up just to help Chen Shi. Chen Shi was very grateful, and she once proposed to give half of the money from selling the trash to Grandpa Zhu, but Grandpa Zhu said that he lived alone, and the money he earned from collecting trash every day was enough for his living expenses. The extra money was useless, and Mother Chen's medical treatment was more important. Grandpa Zhu even took out his savings over the years and gave it to Chen Shi to take her mother to see a doctor. Chen Shi and her daughter and Grandpa Zhu were old neighbors. More than 10 years ago, Grandpa Zhu moved next door when Mother Chen moved in for half a year. They lived together for more than 10 years, and Grandpa Zhu also took good care of Chen Shi and her daughter. Go, Xiao Shi, come find me after school. Let's go together. Grandpa Zhu's face showed a kind smile. The wrinkles were piled together, and the eyes looking at Chen Shi were full of love. Okay. Chen Shi nodded. She was very happy today. Her mother's illness was finally cured. However, although her mother's illness was cured, she still had to continue to go to the beach to collect drink bottles, because her mother's illness would take a long time to recover, and the family's living expenses would fall on her. Huh, Xiao Chun, you look good today? Grandpa Zhu looked at Mother Chun and was stunned. Then he said with a smile, Hee, is that so? Mother Chen didn't expect her complexion to change. Grandpa Zhu, my mother's illness will be cured soon. Chun, she said happily. What? Cured? Grandpa Zhu's face changed slightly. Then he said without leaving a trace, Cancer can be cured? Xiao Shi, don't be fooled by those wandering doctors, right? These people can't be trusted. They said it can be cured. They just want to cheat money. He doesn't want money. Chun Shi thought of Lin Yi, and her heart couldn't help but warm up. My mother and I met a miracle doctor brother today. He treated my mother for free. Miracle doctor? Grandpa Zhu frowned. What miracle doctor? Hee. Anyway, he's not a scammer. Grandpa Zhu, you don't have to worry. You go ahead. I'll tell you tonight. Chun Shi said with a smile. Okay, then I'll go collect the trash first. I haven't opened for business yet. Grandpa Zhu nodded. You tell me tonight. Don't be cheated. And okay. Chun Shi also wanted to share her happiness with Grandpa Zhu. Chapter 981. My dad wants to see you again, right, Lin? My dad. He's coming back to Songzhan with me. Xiao Xiao said, finding it hard to talk about it. She used to use the excuse that her dad wanted to see Lin Yi, and it was natural for her to say it, but now that her dad really wanted to see Lin Yi, she felt a little nervous. He wouldn't be looking for me again, would he? Lin Yi remembered that Tian Long wanted to see him, and Lin Yi didn't suspect that Xiao Xiao was lying. After all, Lin Yi knew Tian Long, and from Lin Yi's perspective, Tian Long would definitely come looking for him if he knew about his relationship with his daughter. Plus, they knew each other before. But Lin Yi heard from Xiao Xiao that Tian Long had something to do at work, and so Lin Yi didn't wait any longer. He knew the nature of Tianlong's work, and it could be a day, 10 days, half a month, or even a year and a half. Lin, he didn't have the time to wait. Plus, the miss was in trouble. Yeah, I'll be looking for you again. Xiao Xiao nodded, but didn't see any special expression on Lin Yi's face. She was a little confused. Hey, why aren't you scared at all? My dad knows about our relationship. Oh, Lin Yi replied faintly. What we have to do with each other. I've shown him the picture. What do you think our relationship is? Xiao Xiao asked back. Huh. Lin Yi only smiled, not saying much. He believed that Tianlong knew Xiao Xiao's personality, and so some things could be easily explained by Lin Yi. After all, he'd worked with Tianlong before, and Tianlong knew him. If there really was something going on with Xiao Xiao, he wouldn't deny it. Can't you be a little nervous? Xiao Xiao felt a sense of defeat. Other boyfriends would be nervous when meeting the girl's parents for the first time, but Lin Yi didn't care at all. This meant that he didn't care about her at all. Xiao Xiao was a little depressed. She waved her fist. Love had not succeeded yet, and she still needed to work hard. She didn't believe that with her beauty, Lin Yi wouldn't take the bait. No matter how cunning a fox is, it can't escape from a hunter who has been pestering it 24/7. When will we meet? Lin Yi asked. I don't know. If you agree, I'll call my dad. He'll contact you. Xiao Xiao said. Okay, then ask him to set a time. I will pay him a visit. Lin Yi nodded. Xiao Xiao's return didn't cause too much of a commotion. She was a 12th grader, and it was normal for people to come and go. Some of the boarding students returned to their original schools, and some of the repeaters came here to study. Some of the hopeless students had already found their own way out, and some of the rich kids didn't need to worry about their future at all. They skipped classes to pass the time, and Zhou Ruoming was one of them. Lin Yi separated with Xiao Xiao after returning to school. He went to find Tang Yun. Xiao Xiao wanted to talk more with Lin Yi, but she couldn't help but feel a little depressed. She sat in the classroom, bored to death, reading books. She didn't even know if she could make it to college, so she didn't have much interest in studying. Even if she couldn't make it to college, with her father's connections, it wouldn't be a problem for her to go there. Lil sis Xiao Xiao, you're back? Why did you disappear a while ago? Pin Liang saw that Xiao Xiao was back, so he sat next to her on Lin Yi's seat. Oh, I went out for a bit. Xiao Xiao looked at Pin Liang. Right, while I was away, did you guys deal with Lin Yi? Deal with Lin? Pin Liang's face changed. Lil sis Xiao Xiao, actually, I came here to ask you to give up. Let's not target Lin Yi anymore. House Yu and Xiao family's deaths and idiocy had completely touched Pin Liang's nerves. Before he had enough strength, he wouldn't do anything to Lin Yi anymore. As for Xiao Xiao, who used to be on his side, naturally, he didn't want her to mess with Lin Yi anymore. If Xiao Xiao messed with Lin Yi, and Lin Yi thought that Pin Liang and Xiao Xiao were on the same side, then he'd be in trouble. So, in order to avoid being dragged into this, he decided to talk to Xiao Xiao and tell her not to do anything to Lin Yi anymore. Pin Liang felt that with Xiao Xiao's strength, there was no way she could do anything to Lin Yi. Oh, Xiao Xiao paused. What's wrong? Didn't you hate him so much before? Man, don't mention it. Pin Liang shook his head. Lil sis Xiao Xiao, I'm only telling you because we used to be good friends. Did you know? Yinjing's House Yu and Xiao family both went to cause trouble for Lin Yi. These two are noble houses. Have you heard of them? House Yu? Xiao family? How could Xiao Xiao not have heard of them? She'd attended House Yu's auction before, and even ate with Lin Yi and the Xiao family. Naturally, Xiao Xiao knew about these two noble houses. They went to cause trouble for Lin Yi. They're all mystic class masters from the noble houses. They went to cause trouble for Lin Yi, and guess what happened? Pin Liang was a little depressed as he said that. The difference in strength between him and Lin Yi was too big. Thank goodness he didn't push Lin Yi too far, or he wouldn't live to see the day Zhang Naipeo left the mountain. How is it? Xiao Xiao's heart tightened for no reason. Why was she worried about Lin Yi? Wasn't she the one who wanted revenge the most? Now that there were two big houses helping her get revenge on Lin Yi, how could she not be happy? No, the one Lin Yi offended was her, and if he wanted revenge, she had to do it herself. No one else could. Xiao Xiao gave herself a reason. One of House Yu's dead, and the Xiao family's in a vegetative state. Pin Liang sighed. Lil Sis Xiao Xiao were no match for them, so let's not do anything rash. Lin Yi killed one of House Yu's, and the Xiao families turned into an idiot? And he's fine? Xiao Xiao's eyes widened as she looked at Pin Liang in disbelief. Chapter 982. What are you looking at? But Xiao Xiao didn't know. She knew what noble houses like House Yu and Xiao families signified. They were very powerful forces. How did Lin Yi mess with them? Plus, Lin Yi managed to kill one of them and injure the other? Nope. House Yu and Xiao family both stopped at the same time. Maybe they're scared of him? Pin Liang's information was limited. He knew that those forces were very powerful, but he didn't know why House Yu and Xiao family didn't do anything after that. Oh, Xiao Xiao nodded. She decided that she would ask her father if he knew anything about this when she got home. That's why, Lil Sis Xiao Xiao, let's not mess with Lin Yi. I'm doing this for your own good. Pin Liang said. All right, I got it. I won't mess with him. Xiao Xiao didn't really care. She did mess with him, so what if he killed her? He couldn't do anything about it. He still had to protect her when she was in danger. It seemed like Lin Yi didn't see her as an enemy. Her hard work paid off. All right, you keep it in mind then. Pin Liang saw that Xiao Xiao wasn't paying attention, so he didn't say anything else. He'd warned her already, and he'd drawn a line between them. If Lin Yi really did take it out on him, he'd have something to say. After all, Pin Liang had already recorded it with his phone. That would prove his innocence. One had to admit that Pin Liang was getting smarter and more cunning. Lin Yi texted Tang Yun, telling her to meet under the shade of a tree in the school field. Lin Yi waited there quietly. Tang Yun wasn't there yet when Lin Yi's phone rang. Hello. It was an unknown number, but Lin Yi could roughly guess who it was. Other than Xiao Xiao's father, it couldn't be anyone else. Hello, is this Lin? I'm Feng Tianlong. Lin Yi's guess was right. It was Feng Tianlong. Uncle. Feng, hello. Lin Yi didn't know how to address Tianlong. Should he treat him as an equal or as a junior? In the past, when they were in a team, Tianlong was the captain and Lin Yi was the vice captain. They were on equal footing, but now Lin Yi thought of Xiao Xiao. Tianlong wasn't an idiot. Seeing Lin Yi's hesitation, he understood what he was thinking. He couldn't help but smile. You're my daughter's classmate, so calling me uncle isn't a bad thing, is it? Haha, of course. Lin Yi smiled. Lin Yi Tianlong smiled. Yes, I do. Do you have time, Lin Yi? Tianlong joked. So your name is Lin Yi. I'm not used to it. I used to call you Eagle. Business or private? Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. Tianlong bringing up the past made Lin Yi a little confused as to why Tianlong was looking for him. Private, Tianlong said with certainty. If it's business, I'm afraid it's not me contacting you. It's Director Xia himself. It's about Xiao Xiao? Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. It seemed that Tianlong was really looking for him because of Xiao Xiao. Did he really think that he had that kind of relationship with Xiao Xiao? That's right, Tianlong said. It's about Xiao Xiao. Uncle Feng, there's something I need to explain. Xiao Xiao and I aren't in the kind of relationship you think. Lin Yi felt that he needed to make it clear first. Otherwise, it might cause a bigger misunderstanding. What's the relationship? Feng Tianlong smiled. Let me finish first. All right, go ahead, Uncle Feng. Lin Yi nodded. Lin Yi, I'm looking for you because of Xiao Xiao. As for your relationship with her, I know it like the back of my hand. Did you forget what I do? Tianlong said. I forgot. Lin Yi laughed at himself. It's only been 2 months since I left that life, and I'm not used to it anymore. Tianlong had a large number of spies under him. It wasn't hard for him to know what was going on in the school. As for his relationship with Xiao Xiao, he didn't need to explain anything at all. Tianlong knew it all too well. Do you have time? Let's meet up, Tianlong asked. Now, Lin Yi didn't have a problem, but Tang Yun was coming soon. It seemed like he had to stand her up again. Now, I'm staying at Pengzhan Business Hotel, room 1209. You can come find me directly. Tianlong said. Can you bring your girlfriend with you? Bring my girlfriend? Lin Yi paused. He didn't understand Tianlong's intentions. Her name is Tang Yin, right? I want to meet her too, Tianlong said. I have something to tell her. That. Okay. Lin Yi didn't understand why Tianlong was looking for Tang Yin, but he trusted Tianlong, so he agreed. There was no other reason. Tianlong was Lin Yi's comrade in the past. He was someone he could trust his back. So, Lin Yi believed that Tianlong wouldn't harm him, and he must have his own reasons for asking Tang Yin to come with him. Then I'll wait for you. It's been a long time since we last met in Yanjing, but we didn't have time to catch up. I really miss you, Ying. You actually appear in Songshan's first school. I'm really curious about what you've been through. Feng Tianlong laughed as he reminisced about the past. That's all in the past. Tang Yin doesn't know about my past, Lin Yi said. Oh, I understand. Then I won't mention those things. Tianlong paused and immediately said. When Lin Yi hung up the phone, he saw Tang Yin running towards him. Lin Yi realized that the little bunny in front of Tang Yin's chest was getting bigger. Her school uniform was a size too small. Did you wait long? With the teacher here, I can't skip class. I only came out after class, Tang Yin said apologetically as she fixed her hair that had fallen down from running. I just got here too. I got a phone call and you're here. Lin Yi's eyes were on Tang Yin's chest. He wanted to touch it. Chapter 983. You've misunderstood. Your uniform seems to have become smaller. Lin Yi said. Is that so? Tang Yin was embarrassed that Lin Yi saw the change in her body, but she was secretly happy. Was it effective? Was the uniform a bit too small? Even the bra was smaller? I can't use all the ones I bought before. What a waste. Tang Yin was reluctant. However, she couldn't tell this to Lin Yi. She pretended not to know. Maybe it's because I washed it too much and it shrunk. Oh, I thought you got bigger. Lin Yi looked at Tang Yin mischievously. How would I know? Tang Yin would rather die than admit that she was enlarging her breasts. Not to mention that it was because of Yushu's provocation. It was too embarrassing. Tang Yin was a shy girl. How could she do it to please a guy? She would die if she said it. Did it really get bigger? Lin Yi said. I don't know anything. Tang Yin covered her ears. Her face was burning. How did he see through it? Did he always pay attention to this part of her body? But it's not bad. Lin Yi encouraged. It should feel good. What are you thinking? Tang Yin glared at Lin Yi. You're talking nonsense. What if someone hears you? Let's go. Right, do you have time now? Lin Yi didn't forget that he had an appointment with Feng Tianlong. Now, what do you want to do? Tang Yin asked. Come with me to Pengzhan Business Hotel, Lin Yi said. Tang Yin froze for a second. Then her face blushed. Lin Yi suddenly brought her to a business hotel. What did he want to do? It wasn't Tang Yin's fault. Lin Yi stared at her chest for a long time. Tang Yin thought that Lin Yi wanted to get a room with her. The two had finished their meal, and it wasn't time to eat. Why would they go to a business hotel? Tang Yin also knew that business hotels not only provided meals, but also accommodations. If they went now, it would be, are we advancing a little too fast? Tang Yin said carefully. She was afraid that her rejection would make Lin Yi unhappy. However, Tang Yin felt that it was a little sudden, and she wasn't prepared for it. Although she had completely accepted Lin Yi and knew that it was only a matter of time, she could only accept it after she went to university. Even if it was just the beginning of her first year, she was still in 12th grade. It was still too early. What's too fast? Lin Yi didn't understand what Tang Yin meant. What does going to Pengzhan Business Hotel have to do with rapid development? Hearing Lin Yi's words, the nervous Tang Yin thought that Lin Yi was asking a rhetorical question. Was he angry? And so, Tang Yin gritted her teeth and made a big decision. Then today it is? I don't think I'm in my safe period. Lin Yi heard Tang Yin's words, and he almost bit his tongue. He finally understood what Tang Yin meant. Tang Yin misunderstood. Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Tang Yin thought that he was bringing her to a hotel to get a room. What's wrong? Tang Yin was shocked by Lin Yi's scream and looked at Lin Yi confusedly. Yin, you misunderstood. I want to meet someone at Pengjian Business Hotel, and I want to bring you along. Are you free? Lin Yi looked at the cute Tang Yun, and his heart moved. Tang Yun's suggestion was very tempting, but Lin Yi was a person with strong self-control. He wouldn't force Tang Yun to do anything. Letting nature take its course was the best. When it came to love, Lin Yi paid more attention to the fusion of the heart and soul. Once the two's hearts were tightly connected, everything else would come naturally to them. I see. Tang Yun's face reddened even more, and she was even more embarrassed. She misunderstood? She actually misunderstood? Lin Yi, you bastard. Why didn't you say it clearly? Did you want me to embarrass myself? Tang Yun was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. Haha, your thoughts are more complicated than mine. Lin Yi smiled. You bastard. I'll bite you to death. Tang Yun said as she tried to bite Lin Yi. After venting her anger, Tang Yun wasn't so shy anymore. Who are we going to meet? And you want to bring me? Feng Xiaoxiao's father, Lin Yi said. Tang Yun heard Lin Yi's words, and the smile on her face froze. Feng Xiaoxiao's father? Why is he looking for us? Tang Yun couldn't be blamed for being nervous. As far as she was concerned, Feng Xiaoxiao's father was someone who had nothing to do with her and Lin Yi. And now that Xiaoxiao's father suddenly wanted to see her and Lin Yi, it was hard to say what Tang Yun was thinking. Tang Yun couldn't help but imagine a scene of Xiaoxiao's father forcing her to give up on Lin Yi. How much money did he have to give her before she left Lin Yi? This scene often appeared in some urban romance TV series. Thinking about Feng Xiaoxiao's family background, she always drove a sports car to school. It had to be something special. Compared to her, Tang Yun was so weak. I don't know. He said it's about Xiaoxiao. Lin Yi shook his head. He didn't know why Tianlong was looking for him. Oh, Tang Yun didn't feel comfortable hearing Lin Yi call Xiao. So intimate. Was there really nothing between him and Xiao? Tang Yun wasn't sure. What's wrong? You don't look too happy? Lin Yi could see that Tang Yun's face wasn't looking too good. No, it's nothing. Tang Yun shook her head. She was worried, but it wasn't her place to ask. If you don't want to go, then don't go. I'll talk to Uncle Feng. Lin Yi didn't know why Tang Yun was suddenly unhappy, but it was obvious that she didn't want to see Tianlong. No need. I want to go. Tang Yun shook her head. She was a little nervous, but how could she not go? What if Xiaoxiao's father promised Lin Yi some benefits and asked him to leave her? So she had to go and see what Xiaoxiao's father wanted. Xiaoxiao didn't believe that Lin Yi would give her up for some benefits, but the moment Lin Yi gave her the ring when he left, Tang Yun knew that she was destined to be his woman. He had set his mind on her. She knew that some things wouldn't happen, but her weak nature as a girl made her want to find out. Chapter 984. Encounter on the road. You won't abandon me, right? Tang Yun asked hesitantly. I'm afraid that you won't want me. Lin Yi was telling the truth. Lin Yi felt uneasy about his drifting life. Actually, I meant what I said just now. Tang Yun hesitated and said firmly, I'm the type of girl who will die for one man. Even if you don't want me, I won't let anyone else touch me. Tang Yun was referring to the time when she wanted to get a hotel room with Lin Yi. She believed that Lin Yi would understand. Lin Yi nodded and held Tang Yun's hand. He understood Tang Yun's intention. He knew it from the start. Tang Yun felt relieved when Lin Yi held her hand. She smiled and walked with Lin Yi to the school gate. In the past, holding hands with a boy was too much for Tang Yun. But now, she felt very happy. Lin Yi was still driving Yushu's Beetle today. Mingyao's Audi S5 was too eye-catching. If Lin Yi drove it to the hospital every day to pick Tang Yun up, it would attract a lot of attention. But the Beetle was a lot more low-key. It was a small car, and it was suitable for Lin Yi to drive through the traffic jam. At this time, there weren't many cars on the road. The road was smooth, but there were more traffic lights. Most of the time spent on the road was spent on waiting for the signal. Hey bro, do you want to play something exciting? Lin Yi parked the car in front of a traffic station with a long signal. As he was waiting, a man in his 20s with dyed blonde hair walked over. Because it was hot, Lin Yi had the window open. It was easy for him to talk to Lin Yi. Lin Yi looked at him and didn't say anything. He waited for him to continue. Underground boxing. Have you played it before? It's very exciting. It's all Mortal Kombat, and you can even bet money on the outcome. Are you interested? The blonde-haired man talked nonstop to Lin Yi. I'm not interested. Lin Yi shook his head after listening to the yellow-haired man. Underground fighting ring? That was a place that only bored rich people or gangsters went to. Lin Yi was now personally fighting people every few days. Why would he be interested in an underground boxing ring? Oh, this is our name card. If you're interested, you can call the number on it. The yellow-haired man saw that Lin Yi wasn't interested, so he handed Lin Yi a business card and turned to find his next target. Lin Yi glanced at the contents of the business card. It was nothing more than some exciting promotional slogans. The rest was only a phone number and no detailed address. Lin Yi wanted to throw it away after reading it, but Tang Yin stopped him. What is it? Let me see. What's an underground boxing ring? Lin Yi gave the business card to Tang Yin and said, It's a private boxing ring. There are no rules. The only rule is to beat the opponent until they can't get up. So, casualties are common. Lin Yi had participated in an underground boxing ring before. It was also a mission, but it wasn't challenging. There weren't many masters in this kind of underground boxing ring. For masters like Lin Yi, they were all instantly killed. Isn't that illegal? Tang Yun said in surprise. It's illegal. Lin Yi nodded. Oh, then how do they make money? Tang Yun didn't know much about these things. If it's the tickets, it's quite a bit of income, and the organizer can also act as the banker, letting the audience bet on who will win, how many matches, etc. It's a very profitable business. Lin Yi explained. Oh, then wouldn't it be easy for people to find out if they randomly give out these cards on the street? Tang Yin wasn't interested in violent things. She threw the business card into the storage compartment of the car. These people are professional advertisers. They're a different group from the organizers of the underground boxing ring. Lin Yi said as he pointed at the blonde man who gave him the name card. These people advertise every day. They're very observant. Look, they're targeting young people with better private cars. Most of them are from rich families, and they're the target audience of the underground fighting arena. Lin Yi said as he pointed at the blonde man who gave him the name card. Lin Yi had some understanding of this industry. These people didn't just give out illegal business cards. They also gave out things like loan sharks, revenge companies, dating girls, and so on. If a person wasn't smart enough, they'd be caught a long time ago. But then again, even if they were arrested, the police wouldn't be able to get any key information from them because these people were all hired. They were only responsible for taking the money to distribute the advertisement. They had no other connection with the people behind the scenes. Oh, that's scary. Tang Yin nodded and suddenly asked, How do you know so much? Have you seen an underground boxing ring before? No, I've fought before. Lin Yi shrugged. You fought before? Tang Yin was shocked. She wanted to ask why Lin did such a dangerous thing. But thinking of Lin Yi's strength, it didn't seem to be a problem. However, Lin Yi's past seemed to be very complicated. Sometimes, Tang Yin really wanted to know more about Lin Yi's past. But if Lin Yi didn't want to talk about it, she couldn't ask. She felt that Lin Yi was a person with a story. But no matter what Lin Yi was like in the past, good or bad, Tang Yin had chosen Lin Yi. She would accept everything from Lin Yi. It's all in the past. When I'm free, I'll tell you about my past. Lin Yi didn't want to hide his past from Tang Yin, but it was too dangerous. He was afraid that Tang Yin couldn't accept it, so he wanted to slowly tell her. Oh, okay. Tang Yin nodded happily. Lin Yi drove Tang Yin to the parking lot of Pengzhan Business Hotel. They took the elevator up to the 12th floor and arrived at room 1209. Lin Yi was about to knock on the door. Tang Yun's heart tightened. She held onto Lin Yi's hand. She was sweating. It was impossible to say that she wasn't nervous, although she believed that the love between her and Lin Yi would blossom. Don't worry, I'm here. Lin Yi squeezed Tang Yun's hand. Tang Yun nodded and smiled. Her heart was filled with courage again. Lin Yi knocked on the door. Not long after, Feng Tianlong's voice came from the room. Who is it? It's me, Lin Yi. Lin Yi said. Chapter 985. Parents. Uncle Feng, you're too polite. Lin Yi didn't let go of Tang Yun's hand as he pulled her into the room. Lin Yi's actions were undoubtedly to show Tang Yun his feelings, telling her not to worry and not to worry. Tang Yun was obviously happy, as well as she leaned on Lin Yi. Feng Tianlong smiled and brought Lin Yi and Tang Yun into the room. He lived in a suite with its own living room. Feng Tianlong let Lin Yi sit on the sofa and gave Lin Yi and Tang Yun a bottle of beverage from the cabinet. I didn't make any tea. Please forgive me. It's okay. We don't really like drinking tea anyway. Lin Yi smiled as he took the beverage from Feng Tianlong. It was a popular type of pomelo tea, but Lin Yi wasn't interested in the beverage, so he gave it to Tang Yun. Feng Tianlong also took a bottle of mineral water and sat on the sofa opposite Lin Yi and Tang Yun. Tang Yun, thank you for coming to see me. I'm very grateful. Uncle Feng, you and I are old friends. Don't be so polite. Why are you looking for me? Lin Yi waved his hand. He knew that Feng Tianlong's words were for Tang Yun to hear, but Lin Yi didn't plan to hide it from Tang Yun. Even if he couldn't talk about the dangerous things in the past, he didn't need to hide the fact that he was old friends with Feng Tianlong. Feng Tianlong paused and nodded. Okay, then I'll go straight to the topic. I'm looking for you because I want to talk about Xiao Xiao. Uncle Feng, since you know that I have a girlfriend, then there's nothing between me and Xiao Xiao. You know that. Lin Yi repeated the question in front of Tang Yun. I know. Feng Tianlong waved his hand. It's Xiao Xiao's unrequited love. I can see that. She didn't tell me that she had any special relationship with you. Tang Yun felt relieved after hearing Feng Tianlong's words. The situation she expected didn't happen, and Feng Tianlong didn't throw out a large sum of money to make her leave Lin Yi. This made her feel much better. Oh, then why did Uncle Feng ask me to come? Lin Yi looked at Feng Tianlong in confusion. It's like this. Do you know about Xiao Xiao's illness? Feng Tianlong sighed and went straight to the point. Xiao Xiao's illness? Is she sick? Lin Yi was taken aback and asked in confusion. I just had a meal with her. Is she sick? Oh, you don't know? Didn't Xiao Xiao tell you? Feng Tianlong paused and smiled bitterly. That's right, with Xiao Xiao's personality, even if she likes you, she wouldn't use such methods to gain your sympathy. Lin Yi was even more confused after hearing Feng Tianlong's words. Uncle Feng, are you saying that Xiao Xiao is sick? She's not sick. It's a hereditary disease that she's had since she was young. But didn't you notice? Feng Tianlong was also confused. As far as I know, you are a miracle doctor, right? Elder Liu, you were the one who cured Jinhu's illness, weren't you? Lin Yi frowned, but then understood. With Feng Tianlong's intelligence, it wasn't hard for him to know this. So he nodded and said, That's right, I cured him. Seeing Lin Yi frown, Feng Tianlong said, The news that you cured Liu Jinhu's illness is no longer secret. It's already spread in the upper class of Yinjing. It should be House Liu who spread the news. I just got the news. Tianlong was right. He told his underlings to pay attention to any news related to Lin Yi, and so when the news of Jinhu being cured by Lin Yi spread, Tianlong's underlings reported it to him immediately. Feng Tianlong had wanted to wait a few days before looking for Lin Yi, but after hearing this news, he couldn't hold back the anxiety in his heart. If Lin Yi could cure Liu Jinhu's illness, then could he cure Xiao Xiao's hereditary disease too? And so, when Xiao Xiao called him and told him that she told Lin Yi, Feng Tianlong couldn't wait to call Lin Yi. But the reason why he called Tang Yun over was because he had a backup plan. If Lin Yi could cure Xiao Xiao's illness, then that would be great. But what if Lin Yi couldn't? They spread the news themselves. Lin Yi sighed, understanding House Liu's intentions. House Liu was supposed to keep this a secret, but to spread the news at a time like this, their intentions were clear. They were making their stance clear to House Yu and Xiao family. House Yu and Xiao family were enemies with Lin Yi, but House Liu was indebted to Lin Yi, so naturally, they wouldn't help House Yu and Xiao family. They would even stand on Lin Yi's side if necessary. Lin Yi understood House Lu's intentions, and he didn't blame them. Instead, he thought that House Lu was quite interesting. At a time like this, they'd dare to make such a big bet. Weren't they afraid that House Yu and Xiao family would destroy him, and then destroy House Lu? But no matter what, Lin Yi's impression of House Lu was a little better, at least diluting the unhappiness brought by Wu Huiru. Let's talk about Xiao Xiao first. Tianlong said, "We have to start from Xiao Xiao's mother's side of the family. Xiao Xiao's mother's side of the family has a hereditary disease, and this disease is only passed on to males and not females. The boys are fine, but the girls don't live past 20. What? Hereditary disease?" Lin Yi paused, then Xiao Xiao. Yes, Xiao Xiao has this disease as well, and as she grows older, her body gets weaker and weaker until she dies. Tianlong's eyes flashed with sadness, a helpless sadness. Facing his daughter who was slowly approaching the end of her life, Tianlong couldn't do anything. He couldn't save his daughter, and he couldn't change anything. Back then, when his wife left him, he was very sad. He hoped that with the advancement of technology and medical technology, he could find a way to cure his daughter's disease. But 19 years had passed, and his daughter was about to leave him, but there was no cure. After all, his daughter's disease was too rare, and many institutions couldn't do research on it. What death? Xiao Xiao is 19 now, then she. Lin Yi's eyes widened in shock. He didn't think that Xiao Xiao would have such a strange disease, and that she was about to die. Of course, Lin Yi didn't think that Tianlong was joking. With Tianlong's identity and personality, there was no reason for him to joke around with Lin Yi. Chapter 986. Was she going to die? Was this real? Tang Yin suddenly felt like it was unreal. A classmate of hers. The two of them were arguing a few days ago, and now her father was telling her that she was going to die. Tang Yin was a little angry at Xiao Xiao for lying to her, and hated her for coming between her and Lin Yi, but she never would have thought that Xiao Xiao was someone who was going to die. This news was too much a shock to Tang Yin. Xiao Xiao, she's going to die. Tang Yin's voice was shaking. She was angry at Xiao Xiao, but she didn't want her to die. It was like when she first heard about Meng Yao's accident. Meng Yao was her rival in love, but Tang Yin still asked Lin Yi to save her. Yes, this time I went to Yinjing. I actually brought her to the hospital for a checkup, and the results weren't good. Her life force was disappearing bit by bit. Tianlong sighed. And in Yinjing, her illness acted up. The symptoms were the same as her mother's, but you saved her. Lin Yi, you can save Xiao Xiao, right? Last time at the hotel, Xiao Xiao suddenly fainted. Was it her illness? Lin Yi remembered that time when Xiao Xiao fainted strangely, and when she fainted, she almost sucked all her energy dry. But Lin Yi didn't find any illness on Xiao Xiao's body. As far as Lin Yi was concerned, Xiao Xiao was a very normal person. She wasn't sick at all, and although he thought it was strange, he didn't pay much attention to it. But now that Tianlong said it, Lin Yi felt that it was strange. How could a normal person absorb all the energy in his body without getting injured? This didn't make sense. And Lin Yi suddenly remembered the question Xiao Xiao asked him today. Xiao Xiao had asked Lin Yi to see how long she could live, and Lin Yi had thought that she was joking. He didn't take it seriously and just brushed it off, but now it seemed that Xiao Xiao really was asking how long she could live. Yes, Xiao Xiao can't eat too much cold food, such as seafood. Feng Tianlong said she ate too much seafood last time and got sick. But if nothing goes wrong, she won't be able to wake up that time. But you made her wake up again. I have to say, this is a miracle. Lin Yi was shocked by Tianlong's words. He didn't think that Xiao Xiao would almost die last time at the hotel. If he hadn't gone back to the hotel with Xiao Xiao and left her alone in the hotel, the consequences would have been unthinkable. He might never see her again. Does she know that she can't eat cold food? Lin Yi asked with a bitter smile. She knows, but this kid, sometimes she doesn't care about the consequences when she's impulsive. Tianlong shook his head. She knows that she doesn't have long to live, so she's very casual and does whatever she wants. She's afraid of regrets when she dies. Huh, I can tell. Lin Yi shrugged, but Xiao Xiao's personality was quite cute now. But what she's doing isn't wrong either. She can live a carefree life in her short life. She won't have any regrets. Tang Yun, who was at the side, couldn't help but be moved. She'd never thought that Xiao Xiao would hide it so deeply, hiding the pain in her heart and acting happy every day. She looked so bright and cheerful, but she was actually the one in the most pain. Lin Yi, you can say Xiao Xiao, right? Tianlong looked at Lin Yi with hope. I can't. Lin Yi answered straightforwardly. I haven't even found out what's wrong with her. As far as I'm concerned, she's not sick at all. How am I supposed to cure her? Lin Yi wasn't trying to discourage Tianlong. He was just stating the facts. If he gave Tianlong hope, he'd be even more disappointed. Tianlong's face darkened. We called Lin Yi over. He was filled with hope. After all, Lin Yi saved Lu Zhenhu, and most importantly, Lin Yi was the one who saved Xiao Xiao's last relapse. But it wasn't cured. Her body's vitals were slightly better than the worst, but it was only a tiny bit. She'd soon go back to the bottom again. But even so, it gave Tianlong a lot of hope. As far as he was concerned, once Xiao Xiao fainted, it would be the end of her life. No medical treatment would be able to save her, but Lin Yi could save her. But Lin Yi's words were like a hammer to Tianlong's head. He couldn't accept it. Then how did you save Xiao Xiao last time? Why don't you check Xiao Xiao's condition again? I just transferred all the pure qi in my body to her. It's not much of a cure. Lin Yi said, besides, it's not a matter of being careful or not. You and I are both practitioners, and you should know that after my pure energy circulated around Xiao Xiao's body, I would be able to confirm her illness, but I didn't find any illness. Tianlong hesitated. Lin Yi, can you think of something? I don't have much money, but as long as you're willing to help, I'll give you anything you want, even if I have to sell everything I have. Uncle Feng, you're being too serious. Lin Yi's face turned serious. I believe you know what kind of person I am. I treated House Lu and took 100 million, but that's because I don't know them. But I treated Yang Huaijuan, and I didn't take a single cent. I tried my best, and your relationship with me is the same as Yang Huaijuan and I. I don't think I need to say more. Tianlong's face changed. Naturally, he knew Yang Huaijuan, and they had worked together before. What Lin Yi said showed his standpoint. If he could save Xiao Xiao, he would do it without hesitation, but now that he said it like this, there was really no other way. Lin Yi, if Xiao Xiao falls unconscious again, will you still be able to transfer your qi to her? Tianlong knew that his request was a bit too much. Practitioners saw their qi as extremely precious. It was obtained through hard work, bit by bit. Probably. Lin Yi nodded and waited for Feng Tianlong to continue. Tang Yun's heart jumped. She raised her head as well. Chapter 988. Tang Yun's decision. Uncle Feng, you want me to be Xiao Xiao's boyfriend? Lin Yi naturally understood what Tianlong meant, but he shook his head. But this isn't a game. Forgive me, but I can't agree to it. After all, I have feelings for Xiao Xiao, but I already have a girlfriend. Lin Yi, listen to me first. This is why I asked your girlfriend to come as well. Tianlong said, although I know that this isn't fair to your girlfriend, as a father, I also want my daughter to be as happy as possible before she reaches the end of her life, without any regrets. Of course, I'm not asking you to break up with your girlfriend. You just need to pretend and play along. Trick Xiao Xiao and let her die without regrets. This is a father's wish. I hope you can agree to it. With that, Tianlong stood up and was about to bow to Lin Yi. Lin Yi jumped in fright and quickly got up to stop Tianlong. He smiled bitterly. Uncle Feng, what are you doing? If there's anything, let's discuss it. Why do you have to do this? Uncle Feng, I promise you. Lin Yi hadn't agreed yet when Tang Yin spoke up first. Uncle Feng, I'll cooperate with Lin Yi and put on a good show. I'll let Xiao Xiao walk the last part of her journey without regrets. Tang Yin was really touched. Plus, Tianlong made it clear that he only wanted Lin Yi to pretend to be Xiao Xiao's boyfriend. From Tang Yin's point of view, so what if it was real? What was it, a fight with someone who was about to die? Even if she had to give Lin Yi to Xiao Xiao for a year, Tang Yin could accept it. After all, she and Lin Yi had a long road ahead of them, and Xiao Xiao only had less than a year to live. This was the unfairness of fate. Tang Yin sympathized with her, and naturally, she agreed to Tianlong's request without hesitation. Tianlong thought that Tang Yin was the biggest obstacle, but he didn't think that the first one to agree would be Tang Yin. This touched Feng Tianlong and made him fall in love with Tang Yin, this kind girl. Not every girl had this kind of selfless spirit. Tang Yin, thank you. Feng Tianlong thanked Tang Yin seriously. Don't say that. Xiao Xiao is my classmate, and I want her to be happy. Tang Yin shook her head. Thank you. Lin Yi, can you agree to my request? Tianlong knew that Lin Yi hadn't said anything yet. Although Tang Yin had agreed, Lin Yi was the one who was in charge. What else can I say? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Does this count as an order to hit on a girl? Ha! Tianlong heard Lin Yi's words and laughed happily. You guys can have more contact with each other. I'm not afraid of my daughter being taken advantage of, and I don't need you to be responsible. It's best if you have a son or daughter, and I won't be lonely when I'm old. Why? Lin Yi's eyes went wide, shocked by Tianlong's words. Tang Yin's face changed as well. Let Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao have a child. Although Tang Yin sympathized with Xiao Xiao and was willing to let Lin Yi pretend to be her boyfriend, asking Xiao Xiao to have a child with Lin Yi, Tang Yin felt weird no matter how she looked at it. What would happen after the child was born? If Xiao Xiao really died, then Lin Yi would take care of a child, and she would be a stepmother? Tang Yin couldn't accept it, at least not now. How old was she? And she was already a stepmother. How strange. Uncle Feng, I'm afraid I can't agree to your request. Lin Yi shook his head and smiled bitterly. Lin Yi, I know you're worried about the child's future, but I can promise you that I won't let you take responsibility, and I won't let you take care of the child. Tianlong said, I will take care of the child myself. If you don't want to, I won't tell the child who his father is. Uncle Feng, let's put this aside for now, okay? Let's not talk about whether or not Xiao Xiao will agree. Even I don't have that deep of a relationship with her, so it won't be too late to talk about it when it really comes to that. Lin Yi waved his hand. Plus, if it really comes to that, I will recognize the child. I can't let the child be without a mother or a father. That? Okay. Tianlong sighed. Lin Yi's words sounded nice, but Tianlong knew that Lin Yi was just rejecting him in a roundabout way. Lin Yi and his daughter probably wouldn't get to that step for a while, and his daughter didn't have long to live. It would be too late in the future. Since Yin Yin has agreed, then I won't be unreasonable. I can only say that I'll do my best, but I won't abandon Yin Yin. If Xiao Xiao can accept Yin Yin, then there's no problem, but if she still rejects Yin Yin, then I won't let Yin Yin suffer. Lin Yi sympathized with Xiao Xiao and couldn't reject Tianlong, but at the same time, he didn't want Tang Yin to suffer for no reason. Lin Yi, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. It's just 1 year. I'll just endure it. Tang Yin quickly shook her head. She'd already made her decision, so how could she go back on it? Then we'll talk about it when the time comes. Lin Yi didn't continue this topic. Lin Yi, Tang Yin, I have one more request. Please don't tell Xiao Xiao the truth, and don't let her know that she has a terminal illness. She has a strong ego, and I'm afraid that she'll reject your good intentions if she knows the truth. Tianlong reminded. Don't worry, Uncle Feng, I know what to do. We won't say anything. Lin Yi nodded. Then I'm relieved. Tianlong said, then there's nothing else. Do you guys have time? I'll treat you guys to a meal to express my gratitude. Uncle Feng, there's no need for a meal. Lin, he waved his hand. Tang Yun and I still need to go back to school. Uncle Feng, you don't have to be so polite. You're asking me to date your daughter, and you're treating me to a meal? I feel very awkward. Huh. Tianlong was amused by Lin. All right, then in the future, when you come back with Xiao Xiao, we'll go for a meal. Linny nodded and said goodbye to Tianlong, leaving Pengzhan Business Hotel with Tang Yun. In the car, Lin turned to Tang Yun. Yun Yun, don't hurt yourself. Chapter 989. What do I mind? But you? Linny thought that Tang Yun was going against her will, but it seemed like she was doing it willingly. I'm fine, really. If Xiao Xiao accepts me and lets me be by your side, then that's great. If she doesn't, then I'll just watch you guys from aside. Tang Yun said with a carefree smile. Linny nodded and didn't say anything else. He really didn't think that things would come to this, and that Xiao Xiao had such a tragic background. It was impossible to tell from the surface, and if Tianlong hadn't told him the truth, Linny would have thought that Xiao Xiao was just a healthy, naughty girl. The car stopped at the food street behind the school, and Lin Yi and Tang Yun went back to school together. Lin Yi and Tang Yun parted ways at the entrance of Class 9. Before they parted, Tang Yun winked at Lin. I'm going back to class. You can start your plan to hit on girls. But don't make it real. I'm fine with it, but I'm worried that you'll be sad. Huh? Linny smiled and walked back to his class. Aren't you going to the cafeteria to get something to eat? By the time Linny got back, it was already the last class of the afternoon had ended. It was almost time for the self-study period, and the 12th grade self-study period lasted until 6 at night. Most students would go out to get something to eat at this time. I'll go alone, Tang Yin said. Why don't you go with Xiao Xiao? She'll get suspicious if the change is too sudden. Let's take it slow. Lin shook his head. I'll ask her later. We'll go to the cafeteria together. Sure. Tang Yin nodded. Lin was right. If Linny did a 180-degree change in attitude, then Xiao Xiao would really get suspicious. Back in the classroom, Lin saw Xiao Xiao sitting alone in her seat. His heart ached. Xiao Xiao didn't have any real friends, and all the other students in the classroom had gone out to buy food. Only Xiao Xiao was there. Lin quickly walked to the seat and sat down. Xiao Xiao raised her head when she heard the noise. It was Lin and she couldn't help but be happy. You're back. What took you so long? Didn't you buy something to eat? The self-study session ends at 6:30, 2 hours. Aren't you hungry? Lin didn't answer Xiao Xiao's question. Xiao Xiao paused, not expecting Lin to show concern for her. She got a little excited. I haven't eaten yet. Do you want to eat? Shall we go to the cafeteria together? I'm going with Tang Yin later, Lin said faintly. He couldn't let Xiao Xiao see through him. What he said earlier was a lot better than usual, so Lin had to be careful. Oh, I'll go too. Xiao Xiao was annoyed. She thought that Lin was starting to care for her, but it seemed like he was just asking casually. She said, not willing to lose. Do whatever you want. Lin didn't reject her like he usually did. With that, he walked out of the classroom. Xiao Xiao quickly followed, walking beside Lin. She didn't believe that Lin would be able to resist her intense pursuit. He would definitely fall in love with her. At the door of Class 9, Lin called out to Tang Yin. Tang Yin frowned when she saw Xiao Xiao beside Lin. She was a little surprised. Lin, she's going to the cafeteria too, Lin said. Tang Yin looked at Xiao Xiao. That was a greeting. She knew that she couldn't be too friendly. That didn't fit her personality. And so, the three of them walked to the cafeteria. Lin held Tang Yun's hand, and Xiao Xiao was on the other side of Lin. She wanted to hold Lin Yi's hand, but she was afraid that Lin would just fling her hand away. That'd be so embarrassing. Xiao Xiao felt like she was a third wheel. Why were Lin and Tang Yun so close? It seemed like it wouldn't be easy to separate Tang Yun and Lin Xiao Xiao knew that after Tang Yun exposed her plan last time, Tang Yun wouldn't have much of a reaction no matter what she did. Hoping for Lin to fall in love with her and then dump Tang Yun was an even more impossible mission. At least, Xiao Xiao didn't think that she'd be able to accomplish it in her lifetime. Was it time for him to change his strategy? Looking at Lin, Yi, and Tang Yun, who were stuck together like glue, Xiao Xiao's little brain started spinning again. Maybe she wouldn't let Lin Yi dump Tang Yun, but let Lin Yi fall in love with her and Tang Yun at the same time. If she died, Lin Yi would be sad, right? But he still had Tang Yun. What if he didn't feel anything after she died? Wouldn't she die for nothing? Whatever. She was going to die sooner or later anyway. She couldn't take revenge on Lin Yi, so she'd just pretend that she was testing the feeling of love on Lin Yi. She didn't have to worry about hurting Lin Yi anyway. It's decided. Xiao Xiao comforted herself. At that thought, Xiao Xiao felt relieved. She didn't feel that much hostility towards Tang Yun anymore. The three came to the cafeteria, and Lin Yi went to buy food. He knew what Tang Yun usually ate, but he didn't know what Xiao Xiao liked to eat. Xiao Xiao, what do you want to eat? I'll eat whatever you guys eat. Are you going to treat me? Xiao Xiao was happy that Lin Yi was going to treat her. Xiao Xiao didn't know why she was so happy. Sometimes, the person you didn't understand the most was yourself. Lin Yi nodded. I didn't have the beef noodles for lunch. I'll treat you again. Then I'll eat whatever you guys eat. Xiao Xiao wasn't a picky eater either. Okay. Lin Yi nodded and went to buy food. Before he left, he looked at Tang Yun, who gave him a reassuring look. Xiao Xiao, what do you want? After Lin Yi left, Tang Yun looked at Xiao Xiao coldly. I like Lin Yi. What can I? Do you mind? Xiao Xiao didn't expect Tang Yun to suddenly make things difficult for her, but she wasn't a weak person. She replied with confidence. Mind what? Tang Yun curled her lips. Someone's dumb enough to want to be Lin Yi's mistress. Why would I mind? I'm happy, but I'm afraid that Lin Yi won't like you. Chapter 990. A win-win situation? Didn't she say the same thing to Tang Yun before? She said that if Tang Yun performed well, she'd let her be a mistress, and now Tang Yun was throwing those words back at her. At that thought, Xiao Xiao wasn't annoyed at all. She was actually happy. Tang Yun, since you said that, then I'm sorry. I'm not like you. I don't get angry. I'll just go with the flow. I like being a mistress. It's so nice being a second wife. It's so tiring being the main wife. You're always jealous. Xiao Xiao giggled. Tang Yun, what if Lin Yi really likes me? Are you sure you'll take responsibility for what you said? Tang Yun was at a loss for words. She seemed to be hesitating. What? You don't dare to say anything now. Xiao Xiao teased. Of course I'll keep my words. If Lin Yi really likes you, then I won't have anything to say. Tang Yun said decisively as if provoked by Xiao Xiao. If he accepts you, then I'll accept you. All right, it's a deal then. Xiao Xiao was pleased. Tang Yun didn't have as many ideas as she did, falling for it just like that. It's a deal then. Tang Yun humph. Then from now on, don't give me any face. Don't let me get close to Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao said. As long as he doesn't say anything, I'll be with you. Tang Yun nodded, blushing. All right, for fairness' sake, the three of us will eat together, go to school together, and leave together. Xiao Xiao continued to test Tang Yun's bottom line. She wanted to take advantage of Tang Yun's impulsiveness to get more benefits. Fair is fair. I'll let you know if I'm going on a date with him. All right? Tang Yun said angrily. It'll be useless even if I give you the chance. It's not that easy to be a mistress. Then just wait and see. Xiao Xiao almost jumped up and cheered 3 times. Tang Yun was still too immature, getting tricked by her just like that. Xiao Xiao didn't believe that Lin Yi wouldn't fall for her if she wasn't a threat to Tang Yun. Let's wait and see. Tang Yun sneered. Who's afraid of who? Lin Yi is back. I hope you will keep your promise. Tang Yun sis. Xiao Xiao called Tang Yun that because she wanted to solidify her identity as Tang Yun's mistress, so that Tang Yun couldn't go back on her word. Sure, little sister Xiao Xiao. Tang Yun purposely emphasized the words, little sister Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao was overjoyed. She was really lucky today. As long as Tang Yun didn't object, what did she have to worry about? Tang Yun, on the other hand, looked at Xiao Xiao's happy face and her lips curled into a smile. Just who was the one who had the upper hand in this fight? Tang Yun wasn't an idiot at all. She'd cleverly used the conflict between her and Xiao Xiao to set up a trap for Xiao Xiao. She'd probably still think she was an idiot, right? But this was a win-win situation, wasn't it? When Lin Yi came back, Tang Yun gave Lin Yi a look of success, which surprised Lin Yi. Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao had some sort of secret agreement already? This made Lin Yi look at Tang Yun in a different light. But he pretended like he didn't know anything and put 3 bowls of wonton noodles on the table, 1 for each person. Xiao Xiao's bowl, however, didn't have any seaweed or shrimp in it. HM, why do I have less food than you guys? You're biased? Xiao Xiao realized that there was nothing in her soup. She thought that Lin Yi wouldn't be biased to this extent, would he? Seaweed and shrimp are seafood. I didn't put any in for you. Lin Yi said, you fainted after eating seafood in Yanjing. Are you allergic to seafood? Xiao Xiao looked at Lin Yi and Tang Yun's bowls and realized that hers was missing seaweed and shrimp. How did Lin Yi remember that? She almost forgot about it. Xiao Xiao felt a surge of warmth in her heart. It seemed that Lin Yi still cared about her, at least more than normal classmates. Yeah, but it's fine if it's just a little. Xiao Xiao said happily. Thank you for saving me when I fainted in the shower at the hotel last time. Xiao Xiao said that intentionally for Tang Yun to hear. She wanted to show how close she was with Lin Yi, but Tang Yun's face was very calm, as if it was something insignificant. She just said, oh, faintly, and didn't say anything else. In fact, Tang Yun already knew how Lin Yi felt about Lin Yi from the way he rejected Tianlong today. Lin Yi might have a good impression of Xiao Xiao, but Lin Yi wasn't at the level where he liked Xiao Xiao. Tianlong had asked Lin Yi to pursue Xiao Xiao today, and even Lin Yi was hesitant. How could he have anything to do with Xiao Xiao? So when Xiao Xiao said that they were going to shower, Tang Yun didn't think much of it. Xiao Xiao said it in a flirtatious way, but who knew what the real situation was? Plus, Tang Yun had made up her mind to make Lin Yi Xiao Xiao's fake boyfriend. Even if Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi did have something, Tang Yun would just close one eye. She would remind herself not to fight with someone who was about to die. It was meaningless. So what if she won? So what if she lost? Xiao Xiao's terminal illness had determined the outcome of this. She couldn't take Lin Yi away from her. Seeing that Tang Yun didn't care, Xiao Xiao felt like she was acting alone. She looked at Tang Yun and continued. Tang Yun sis, Lin Yi seems to be really nice to me. He even knows that I'm allergic to seafood. I'll remember that, too, Xiao Xiao lil sis. I won't order seafood when I go out to eat with you next time. Tang Yun's voice was calm, but the expression on her face was that of gritting her teeth. She couldn't take it anymore. Accepting Xiao Xiao and becoming friends with her was a process. No matter how generous Tang Yun was, she couldn't build a friendship with Xiao Xiao in one day. So Tang Yun had to act like she had no choice, As long as there was a gradual process, Xiao Xiao wouldn't be suspicious anymore. Seeing Tang Yun gritting her teeth made Xiao Xiao very happy. Tang Yun sis, you're regretting it, right? You got yourself a concubine just because you wanted to fight? Wahaha, I'm such a genius. Xiao Xiao, you're amazing. So smart. Xiao Xiao clenched her fists, her heart filled with hope and fighting spirit. Chapter 991. Did you regret it? Lin Yi looked at Tang Yun, then at Xiao Xiao, a suspicious look on his face. What's wrong with you guys? Are you guys talking in code? Nope. Haha. Tang Yun sis and I became good friends. Xiao Xiao said proudly. Right, Tang Yun sis? Yes. Tang Yun gritted her teeth. Lin Yi frowned, but didn't say anything. He lowered his head and started eating. Meng Yao and Yu Shu were sitting at a table not far from Lin Yi. Meng Yao looked away and said faintly, Let's eat, Shu. Yao Yao, that's Xiao Xiao. Why is she sitting with Shield Bro? Yu Shu didn't understand. Isn't she a love rival with Tang Yun? Who knows? Meng Yao shook her head, confused as well. Ever since Lin Yi sacrificed himself to save her, her attitude had changed a lot. She knew that Tang Yun was irreplaceable in Lin Yi's heart, and she didn't want to go against Tang Yun anymore. That would only put her in a more passive position. Oh, Yao sis, do you think that Tang Yun is afraid? Did she find a mistress for Shield Bro to fight against us? Yushu guessed. Then why don't you go ask? Meng Yao frowned. Forget it. Yushu shook her head. Lin Yi, Tang Yun, and Xiao Xiao lowered their heads and ate their dumplings. Lin Yi and Tang Yun wanted to talk more with Xiao Xiao, but their relationship wasn't that good. They didn't have any common topics to talk about, so after a quick meal, they went back to class. When they walked out of the cafeteria, Xiao Xiao saw Lin Yi trying to hold Tang Yun's hand. She quickly grabbed Tang Yun's hand. Lin Yi, you go first. I want to talk to Tang Yun sis. Lin Yi frowned. What do you want to say? Say it in front of me. Behind your back, of course I can't let you hear it. Xiao Xiao said. Don't believe her, Yin Yin. Lin Yi said purposefully. If he didn't say anything and just let Xiao Xiao be with Tang Yun, that wasn't his style, and Xiao Xiao might get suspicious. Oh, Tang Yi nodded. And so, Lin Yi walked in front, with Xiao Xiao holding Tang Yun's hand at the back. Tang Yun sis, do you regret it? Xiao Xiao asked. Regret what? I didn't lose anything, Tang Yun said. Oomph. Xiao Xiao thought to herself, keep being stubborn, but when Lin Yi and I become a reality, you'll have no choice but to accept it. What are you snorting at? You're just a concubine. You still have to listen to me in the future, right? Tang Yun said. Fine, I'll listen to you. Xiao Xiao felt that Tang Yun was just trying to save face. The two had their own plans as they chatted and laughed as they returned to class. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao entered the classroom as well. Xiao Xiao was very happy. She didn't expect Tang Yun to be this gullible, getting tricked with just a few words. What did you say to Tang Yun? Lin Yi asked Xiao Xiao after returning to his seat. In fact, Lin Yi was a bit curious as to what Tang Yun said to Xiao Xiao. Lin Yi knew that Tang Yun must have said something to make her happy, but Lin Yi and Tang Yun hadn't met up yet, so he didn't know the specifics. So, when they got back to class, Lin Yi just asked casually. Tang Yun said that she's going to find you a concubine. Xiao Xiao didn't hide it. She felt that she had to tell Lin Yi what Tang Yun wanted. Otherwise, even if Tang Yun agreed, Lin Yi wouldn't agree. It was pointless. Why? Lin Yi blinked. A concubine? Are you serious? Of course. Xiao Xiao nodded. It wouldn't be you, would it? Lin Yi asked. How'd you guess? Xiao Xiao blinked. Lin Yi didn't pay attention to her, turning around and taking out his book. The head of House U, Danson, was an Earth-class early phase and had entered the mysterious House U to train, focusing on the path of the heavens and stepping into Sky class. However, Danson was someone from the common world's House U. After all, every once in a while, he would call House U, but even if House U wanted to look for him, they wouldn't be able to find him. After all, when he was concentrating on his training, it could be 10 days or even a few months. He couldn't be disturbed. Today, Danson had just come out of seclusion, and he felt that he was about to break through from Earth-class early phase to Earth-class early phase peak. And so, he quickly called Shueishing to tell him the good news. To cheer him, and you bite up? Shueishing didn't know what to do these past 2 days. House U had dominated the common world for so many years, and everyone had to listen to them. Almost all the noble houses knew that Danson was an Earth class, and he had entered the hidden House U. All of a sudden, House U became the leader of the noble houses. All these years, House U had been doing the things of the noble houses, organizing noble house meetings and auctions. They were doing very well, unparalleled for a while. But all of this was broken by someone who came out of nowhere. Lin Yi, just where did you come from? Shueishing gritted his teeth as he looked at the information on Lin Yi. It was a record of everything Lin Yi had done since he came to Songshan. Every single thing he did was filled with absolute arrogance. Zhao Qibing of the Hidden House had his legs broken by Lin Yi twice, and his skyscraper destroyed twice. And the Hidden House Zhao had been holding back all this time. There must be something wrong with this. Shueishing regretted not thinking about all this before, thinking that Lin Yi didn't have a strength, so he followed the Xiao family and Zhao Qibing to cause trouble for Lin Yi. And so, his impulsive actions led to a disaster. Shueising blamed himself and hated Lin Yi to the core. Now, Yu Bide was dead, and Yu Kuan was a cripple. How could he face his big brother Danson? Back then, when his big brother handed him the position of the head of the house, he entered the hidden house Yu alone, and his words were still fresh in his mind. He promised that House Yu would become more and more glorious and hold the position of the #1 noble house. But how long had it been? House Yu was in such a huge mess. What should he do now? House Yu left in such an aggressive manner and came back with 1 dead and 1 injured. Wouldn't they become the laughing stock of the other noble houses? Chapter 992. Chapter 990. House Yu's conversation, Lin Yi. If I don't kill you, House Yu won't have the face to be the head of the noble houses. We might as well be a dog's fart. Shueising took a deep breath and said fiercely. But he knew that he had to hold it in. House Yu couldn't handle the storm anymore, and he had to hold it in before figuring out Lin Yi's background. In the study room, an urgent phone rang. This was House Yu's secret number. Usually, only people who had a close relationship with the family would know this number. Other than House Yu's inner circle, only the heads of the noble houses had access to this number. Hello, I'm Shueising. Shueising's thoughts were interrupted by the ringtone as he picked up the phone. Shueising, I'm your big brother. Danson was very happy. Naturally, he had to share the news of his breakthrough with his second and third brothers first. Is Bide with you? Big brother. Shueising heard Danson's voice, all the anger and grievance in his heart surging out. He couldn't help but feel his heart ache when his brother asked about Yu Bide. Bide? He's not here. Oh, hurry and call him. I have something good to tell you 2 brothers. This is an exciting moment for House Yu. Danson didn't notice that Shueising's emotions weren't right. After all, he couldn't see Shueising's expression through the phone. I can't call him. Shueising sighed, his voice sounding like he was about to cry. Big brother Bide? Bide's dead. Dead? What do you mean? Danson paused, not understanding what Shueising was saying. What dead? Who's dead? Yu Bide, my third brother, he's dead. Shueising said sadly. Big brother Bide's dead. What a horrible death. What? What did you say? Yu Bide's dead? How'd he die? Danson's mind went blank. He never would have thought that Yu Bide would die. Wasn't this too strange? How long had it been since he left House Yu? Moreover, Yu Bide was a cultivator and he rarely got sick. How could he die? Someone beat him up and then a dog beat him to death. Shueising said sternly. Third brother died a horrible death. Big brother, you have to help Bide. What did you say? Killed by a dog? Mercury, do you have a fever? It's not April Fool's today, is it? Yu Danson froze. Your third brother is an early phase mystic class master. Even if he's injured, how could he be killed by a dog? Plus, with House Yu's influence in the common world, who would dare to touch us? Big brother, why would I speak carelessly? Not only is third brother dead, but Yu Kuan is also crippled. Shueising cried. Brother, there's a master called Lin Yi in the common world. He's very mysterious, and he doesn't play by the rules at all, Linny. Never heard of it. What's going on? Tell me the details. Danson finally believed Shueising's words. Even Yu Kuan was crippled. It seemed that this was no small matter. Danson's happiness from breaking through was all gone, replaced by helplessness. As long as his big brother came out, Lin Yi would die for sure. But the problem was, what kind of power did Lin Yi have behind him? Man, forget it. Life, death, sickness, and death, my condolences. Danson was more open-minded than Shueising. Those who practice martial arts, if they don't pursue the path of the heavens, they'll leave it one day. I've gotten a lot more open-minded here. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.